a federal election, raped a woman, sexually exploited women and kids, and I enjoy that trend of more Americans waking up to the madness. And I cannot wait to see the Republican exodus that takes place in the Senate and the House of Representatives come midterms with an S at the end. Come midterms. But anyways, that's enough yapping from me. Just super successful day yesterday. Oh, actually, my yap's not over because after the Democrats won these elections last night, Donald Trump crashed out. He went on a Truth Social tirade saying, give one moment, we got a TikTok now. Hey, Rai, thank you for the Leon the Kitten. It's so good to see you today. Thank you for being here. You've been hanging out with us a lot recently. All the love to you, Rai. But after the Democrats won the special elections last night, Donald Trump crashed out. He went on a Truth Social tirade about how he's one of the best presidents ever. The economy is the best it's ever been right now. And his mental state is sharp. He is not going downhill. He is quick-witted. And he's also in really good physical shape. And he said anybody who says otherwise is guilty of treason. So keep that in mind. If you think that maybe we see Donald Trump going on a little bit of a downward slope with his mental state, his physical health, I mean, shit, he's over 80, okay? That happens. You are considered a traitor against the United States of America by the president of the United States of America. And we see those Trump crash outs when he loses bigly and the Democrats win huge, okay? I can't wait to see the crash outs come midterms. They're going to be very, very exciting, as long as no one gets hurt and it's just kept to words on Truth Social. But anyways, I'll go ahead and stop the yap. We already have our very first Trump supporter of the day, Mr. Marcus, loaded into the stream. Marcus, I appreciate you so very much for your patience, man. Thank you. Now, you are a Trump supporter. You're 33 years old, and I also see in your bio, it says that you're a veteran. Maybe we could touch on that a little bit later. I think that that's super relevant to maybe a big reason why you shouldn't support Trump as president. But at this point in time, I'm just going to go ahead and pass the mic to you, man. It's yours for as long as you want it. All eyes are on you. Tell us why you think Donald Trump is a good president.
Okay, I do want to clear things up with the support part. I don't support the discussing things that he's been uh, found guilty of
As long as you
with the
want it.
Eugene Carroll thing. I support him just solely on the presidential part of it and how he is as a president, not as a person.
Yeah.
I wouldn't support him as a person, but as a president, I like some of the things he's done and is doing. For an example, with the I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on here, but like the boat stuff from
Oh, the war crimes? Yeah.
mm, they're actually uh what is it called? Uh Constitutionally it's a I can't think of the word, but they're allowed to do that because it's a it was for defense of national security.
Yeah. So, your bio says it used to be in the military. Do you know what a JAG officer is? I'd assume you do.
Yes, it's like a lawyer.
A military lawyer. So, we had a very large group of JAG officers unanimously conclude that if what the report said were true, if they took that second strike and they targeted and killed the two incapacitated, quote unquote, narco south. They didn't have enough fuel to get to America. I think that they're heading to Senegal. And that, yes, after the first strike, left two people alive, incapacitated, hanging on to the side of the boat for their dear lives. If they had any drugs on the boat, they were either exploded or deep in the water. They then hit them with a second strike targeted to kill them. They were incapacitated. They were not a threat to the United States of America. They were hanging off the side of a woman and kids. Those are instrumentally involved in his presidency because the office of the president is a position of public service, not a position of self-service. If an individual is incapable at public service, then they are incapable of serving as a good president, correct? Won't hire you if you're a violent felon with good reason, okay? I don't even want you flipping my burger if you're a rapist, all right? And the reason we as a society do this is to further disincentivize bad actors from engaging in these bad actions. because of the consequence, either have perpetuated this violence or want to, is that they can go rape a woman, tell everybody it never happened, and even if that woman brings litigation against you and you are found it happened, okay, and I perpetuated and existed
Found guilty after he was already elected as president.
after he was elected his first term, before he was elected his second term.
Then yeah, I don't think he should have been president if he was found guilty before his second term.
Damn, dude. Well, that's it. I could give you resources if you want to go just fact check what I'm saying, right? But what I'm saying is true. You know, you could go on Google, you could type in Trump v. Carroll, that is Carrol. You'll be able to read the court documents, the jury verdict form, read where they held him liable for sexual abuse, then read where the judge said that this is pretty much rape because what he did to her, although it was only considered as sexual abuse by the court, is considered as rape by you and me because he forcefully inserted his fingers into her female member without her consent, right? And I really appreciate you for saying that, man. I think it's great knowing that there's still people with common decency out there that we could pull out of, you know, that cult.
Yeah, I'm not part of that cult.
I agree.
When it
You're
comes
not.
to like human, like you said, human decency.
Yeah.
Like I don't care who
Yeah.
the person is.
Yeah, and God, what a refreshing thing to hear. Thank you for helping to keep me a little more sane on my streams than usual, Marcus. Well, I guess that's the end of our conversation. I love to hear it, and I really appreciate you for your time and thank you for your service.
Thank you as well.
Yeah, you take care, man. Take care, Marcus.
All right.
We're gonna go to move on to the next guest. Damn, man, that is great to hear. Great to hear, man. We're gonna go to move on to the next guest right now, dude. I gotta love it, man. Very first guest of the day. We are off to a great start. We are feeling good. Awesome. Let's go to get that next Trump supporter loaded into the live. If you happen to be a Trump supporter and you're tuned in on TikTok, go ahead and hop inside of that queue for me. If you're an American adult that supports Donald J. Trump as president, I would really appreciate it if you would. We also got a couple people to thank here over on Venmo. Brianna, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo, who says, "Hey, Dean, as a young member of the LGBTQ plus community in a family full of raging Republicans, I want to thank you for keeping me sane with your absolutely astonishing intelligence daily on these lives. Thank you for what you do." Oh, thank you so much, Brianna. Guys, while we're hopping into this next debate with Pump, Brianna, welcome in, Pumpkin. Do you support Trump?
Dean Willis for president! Dean for president!
You got the year right. Good job. They got the year right. Right? Let me do the math here. Yeah. They did get the year right. That's crazy. Cuz I was born in 04, meaning in 2038 I would be 34, meaning no, I wouldn't. Because by inauguration in 2039, I'd still be 34 because it would be January. You were off by one election cycle. I got to give it to you. You were very, very close. Very intelligent fetus. Better at math than the average guest on this live. We're going to move on to the next guest, guys. Everyone just give us a minute, y'all. Only hop inside of the queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Donald J. Trump as president, please. I would really appreciate you so much if you could please follow our rules. We're going to move on to the next guest, Maga King. We got Maga King loading up into the box right now. I think that we had maybe 3 other people to thank over on Venmo. Yeah, we sure did. Zach, thank you for the $10 on Venmo, who says spread the love, not the hate. Well, I tried to spread love, but I also return the same energy that I receive. So sometimes I'm not exactly loving. But thank you for the $10, Zach. I'd also like to thank Katie for the $1 and then Tyler for the $2. Thank you, guys. Tyler with the $2 says, voted for Trump twice, went to his inauguration. Definitely not a Republican anymore. Thank you for opening my eyes. That's awesome to hear, bro. I'm so proud of you. All right, what is up? Do you support Trump?
Dean, you have to unblock my other account.
Oh my God. Okay, fetuses, bad. Stay out. Stay out, fetuses. All the fetuses have to now leave the queue. Okay, we're looking to talk to American adults, please, 18 plus. Just looking for some debates. Welcome. And do you support Trump, Rise?
Yes, I do.
You do? Oh, well, you sound quite British. What time is it?
Yeah, fuck you.
Whoa! I was very
Puss.
aggressive. Call. Yeah, you could barely string together that sentence, bro. Hope all's good. We're going to move on to the next guest, guys. Only op inside of the queue if you're an American adult that supports Trump as president. I mean, y'all already know the rules. I mean, I don't know why I repeat them so often. What's up, Christina? Are you MAGA?
I didn't mean to click that. I'm so
No worries at all. You have a good rest of your day. You know, how about this? If you're tuning in, if you're one of the nearly 12,000 people watching right now on TikTok, let me know in that chat if you're MAGA so, we could get you up here, help you skip the line because there's just a bunch of people in the queue who shouldn't really be in the queue. Welcome in Trump is King. Do you support Trump?
Mommy loves you.
It is a bunch of children today. All right, children, please stay out while we look for a genuine Trump supporter to come up here and to have a conversation with us. We're just, this is a debate live stream. It is a debate live stream, believe it or not. What is going on? Bad Guile? I don't know. Do you support Trump?
Please, Roblox.
I'm going to go to take that as a no. What's going on? You two? Do you guys support Trump?
Hey, I want to know.
Do you support Trump? I'm sorry. No,
Sorry.
I don't have time for trolls. Do you support Trump?
Oh, yes.
How old are you?
No, sorry.
You don't support Trump? Okay, then you're banned. Moving on to the next guest, guys. Follow them. Follow the rules. I think this next guest is a Trump supporter because I think I've had them up here before. Yeah, man. So, welcome back. How old are you?
I'm 45. But I have a question for you, Dean.
Oh, geez. Okay. Can we go question for question? You get to ask me a question, then I get to ask you a question?
Yeah, well, I guess that's fine.
Okay.
My first question is, how much do you support Trump? Have you ever thanked him for all the revenue he's generated for you?
Yeah, I don't think that Donald Trump is the one sending me, for instance, $50 on Super
Without
Chat
Donald
on YouTube
Trump's
from Maga.
name on the front of your life, you wouldn't be making anything.
You understand that I ran these lives and I had an audience and I generated an income before I even started talking about Donald Trump?
What was your ratio then to now?
Are you asking me if I've grown as a creator since then? Yeah, I've grown as a creator in the last 2 years.
By using Donald Trump's name, you've grown as a creator. Are you going to admit it or not?
Well, what I would say is that by using reason, common sense, fact, and logic, and having why he is a bad president has generated me an income, right? That is what has generated me a platform. That is what has generated me an audience, is my ability to demonstrate that Donald Trump is a terrible man with the nemesis of the White House, okay? Right? So I don't think that's Donald Trump making me my money, okay? That's me making my money by...
And what I want to ask you is, why are you not using a different platform every day? You're using the same one every day, and it's what has Donald Trump done? What has Donald Trump done? You're not using nothing else to gain any ground. It's only Donald Trump.
Of course.
And therefore, you should be thankful for Donald Trump.
I'll tell you. It's because a year ago, Donald Trump, 11 months ago, Donald Trump was... 1 second. Yeah, 11 months. 11 months ago, Donald Trump was president. 10 months ago, Donald Trump was president. 5 months ago, Donald Trump was president. Yesterday, Donald Trump was president. And today, Donald Trump is president. I will not stop trying to convince as many Americans as possible that Donald Trump is a terrible, lousy president that nobody should support until Donald Trump is president no more.
And I understand, but you're not. You have no platform or no ground to gain if you do not use Donald Trump.
I got a tweet with over 1 million views without mentioning Trump yesterday. Thank you.
Just the only reason you've got to do is because of Trump.
What's that?
So you're not going to admit it? The only reason you're where you're at is because of Donald Trump?
Well, I think a big reason why I'm at is because I'm really effective at describing why Donald Trump is such a bad president. But I'm not going to be thankful that he's a bad
I'm not going to say you're
president.
not effective at it. I'm not saying you're not effective. I think that you could turn the tables and you could do the same thing for Joe Biden. I think you're that intelligent that you can turn the tables and have the same.
Then do it. Tell me how Kamala Harris, the lady that you don't even have as much as a parking ticket on, is the same person as Donald Trump, the adjudicated rapist, 34-count felon that tried to coup this country and rig the outcome of an election. Please. And by the way, you also sound very obsessed with my income. I just wanted to point that out. So I'm actually going to go ahead and thank a couple people for generating me my income. Ravel, thank you so much for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat, who says you and Parker essentially got MAGA running, dead ass. And then Tab, thank you so much for the $25 for your patience. Thank you, Tab and Ravel. Thank you both. Let's go. W donors. And yo, Adam, Yo, thank you so much for the future journey, Adam. That is so incredibly kind of you, bro. I'd also like to thank Taylor for the $10 over on PayPal. Thank you so much for the love. That's actually Sin, that is CYN. Thank you so much. Jacob with the $5, Jennifer with the $3. Thank you guys so very much for the love. I'd also like to thank Jennifer for the $4, Joshua for the $4, and Diana with a $5. Then Alana, thank you for the $2 over on Venmo. Tom, thank you for the $5 over on Venmo. Jojo, appreciate you so much for the $5 over on Venmo. And Sunny, thank you so much for the $25 on Venmo. Leo, let's get 250 Sunny W's down below in that chat for the $25. He says, I don't know if you've seen the TV show The Boys, but I've been rewatching it, and the parallels to our world today is crazy. Yeah, it's because they're super big libs and they're fucking based. I love them all. Thank you for the $25, Sunny. If you're watching and you want to help me generate that revenue, if you want to support me, if you want to donate to me, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio and TikTok, pin message over on YouTube. Yeah, thank you for reminding me, sir.
Yeah, you forgot to thank Donald Trump.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to thank Donald Trump. I could tell you why he's a lousy president, though.
Well, you still need to thank him because he's the reason you are where you're at today.
Well, unlike you, sir, I don't wake up every morning and bow down to a shrine of Trump and say my graces. That's you. That's something
You
that
don't
only
have to
cult
bow
members
down
do.
to him, but you're using him the same way.
I'm a rapist.
If you're using his name every day to build your status, yes, you should.
Are you arguing that I should thank somebody that has sexually exploited kids?
I think that you should use someone else's name and see if you get the viewers and get the response from using something.
Answer my question. Are you arguing that I should thank somebody that has sexually exploited kids?
I don't think that he sexually exploited kids.
Yeah, yes. He sexually exploited naked women and kids. He admitted to it.
No.
So if you knew that he had done that, would you stop supporting him?
Let me explain this to you.
Okay.
My sister grew up competing at a national level in beauty pageants and state levels, whatever. If you think that them girls go in there and get naked in front of each other, you're wrong. It just shows that you don't have no sense of what you're talking about.
So then why did he say that they were naked in front of each other?
It was just an expressive kind of talk.
What? It was an expression. It wasn't like reality. It was like a joke.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily a joke. They go in there, they put their makeup on, but they do not strip down and get naked in front of each other.
Yeah. So this is very like frequent.
They do not, and you should have enough sense.
I mean, they said that they did. Like you can't deny the fact that the beauty pageant contestants of Miss Teen USA and Miss USA said that they were naked, and Donald Trump walked in on them exactly in corroboration of what he admitted to in this clip. I mean, just think about how insane you sound right now. Donald Trump said he'd walk into this private women's only space and the people in that space were naked and he'd look at them. Then the naked women inside of that space testified to the fact that they were naked in this space and he would look at them. We have Miss Arizona from 2001, and then we have Mariah Bogado alongside 3 other minors that competed at Miss Teen USA in 1997. So given the fact that we have a direct admission of guilt to the individual circumstances of the sexual exploitation of naked women and naked girls by walking into their dressing rooms and looking at them while they had no clothes on, and then a corroboration of said admission of guilt via the victim testimony of multiple different beauty pageant contestants from Miss Teen USA that happened, especially considering the second fact that Donald Trump said that he actually did this after Howard Stern asked for clarification.
When did you hear about that?
What did I hear about what?
When did you hear about the girls saying that they was walked in on?
I think that they talked
When did that
about this
come
when they were
global
asked
news?
about it.
When was that?
Adam, thank you so much for the Interstellar over on TikTok. I really appreciate you so much for the love, man. Yeah, so they talked about it when they're asked about it, when this clip came out and got broad mainstream notoriety in 2015 when Trump was running for president.
Can you clarify that last sentence again?
Yeah, I said they came out about it when they were asked about it by BuzzFeed for an interview in
What
2015.
year? 2015.
Of
when
course,
Trump was running
yeah,
for president.
no shit.
If when you're going to start bringing up, everybody's going to start bringing up. The Democratic Party's going to make up things, and E.G. Carroll that's done tried to get 20 different people accused of raping her are going to bring up things. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. The Democratic Party is staging a lot of this and turning it around to make their people look bad, their opponent. And you know that. You know that. You're smart enough to know that. So why do you go out and try to dig so much the other way and turn that table around?
Well, first and foremost, sir, I thought I'd clarify here. It makes a lot of sense that they came out publicly about this in 2015 when Trump was running for president, since that's when they were asked to come out publicly about this. That's when BuzzFeed reached out to them for an interview. That's when all of these publications were like, hey, do you mind if we ask you guys a couple questions to write in this article that we're going to turn around and put on the internet? Right? Of course that fucking makes sense. And then second of all, was Donald Trump running for president in 2005?
That's what I'm saying. So you people
Can you answer my question? Was Donald Trump running for president in 2005?
No.
No. But 2005 is the year that he said that he sexually exploited them by looking at them while they're naked, right?
I don't know what year. I didn't look at the years. I'm asking you about the years.
He said this in 2005. So how can you sit here and say that this is a Democratic manufactured lie when Donald Trump started running for the office of the presidency in 2015, when he is the one that came out and boasted about doing this himself in 2005? Are you saying that the Democratic Party made Donald Trump say that Donald Trump sexually exploited people?
What I'm saying is the Democratic Party had no problem with it whatsoever till he ran for president, and then you wanted to bring the everything up, and that's what I'm saying.
Well,
how come you didn't care about all these people and everyone, E.G. Carroll or whoever? Yeah. Why didn't you care about it before he ran for president?
Well, maybe I didn't care about this in 2005 because I was 1 year old. And likely,
that ought to tell you something right there.
Wait, did you just try to say, oh? You didn't care about it in 2005 because you were a 1 year old? And by the way, people did care about this in 2005, but not as many people cared about it because although Donald Trump was popular and although Donald Trump ran a TV show, still yet not every American knew who Donald Trump was. Okay, and then secondarily, right, when politically involved, right, like rich, famous people do things that are really bad, right? It is really rare for a political party to comment on it. You know what I mean? Like think about Diddy before, it came out that Donald Trump was, talking about Diddy on an interview 15 years back saying that he was his best buddy and whatnot. Okay. The Democratic Party didn't come out with an official statement condemning Diddy. Or for instance, Chris Brown, when I think Chris Brown hit Rihanna, did we get an official statement from the Democratic Party condemning it? No, because Chris Brown wasn't politically involved. Okay. Society as a whole condemned that, but we didn't see an explicit statement from a political party. So of course, it would make sense, right, that society as a whole, those that knew Trump, would condemn what he said in 2005 when he boasted about the sexual exploitation of women and girls. But it's just unrealistic to then turn around and argue that the Democratic Party didn't care because the Democratic Party didn't make any official statement. And by the way, if you're going to sit here and tell me that it's bad not to care about it until he's running for president, then how much worse is it not to care about it even after he's ran for president and is serving as the president? You are the one that is actively bowing down and supporting an admitted sexual exploiter serving in the office of the presidency of the United States of America. You are the one saying, I don't care if you don't care about the consent of little girls and women. I don't care if you sexually exploit them by looking at them if they're naked. I'm still going to put you in the most powerful position known to mankind. So before we talk about the Democratic Party, how about we talk about you and your inability to be self-aware to the extent of caring about the women and girls around you via your obvious acceptance of sexual violence. And we talk about you and the fact that you're a member of a cult who holds no red lines because Donald Trump could do absolutely anything, including sexual violence directed towards women and girls, and you would still support him as president. My evidence being the fact that that is something that you are arguing right now.
My argument would be, you wanted to talk about Harris a minute ago. I've never heard you say anything about her. No, because you asked me about Harris.
No.
That was what you asked me a minute ago.
So we were just talking about Donald Trump sexually exploiting women and girls at Miss Teen USA and Miss USA. I gave you the evidence for it, that being the audio clip of him talking to Howard Stern in 2005, admitting to it, corroborated by the victim testimony of the 7 girls at Miss Teen USA, then the women at Miss USA. And I want your response to that. But every single time you open your mouth, you just talk about the Democratic Party and Miss Harris. I'm down to talk about the Democrats. I'm down to talk about Kamala Harris. But before we do, we just need to get the record clear. Do you accept or deny that Donald Trump sexually exploited women and or girls at Miss Teen USA and or Miss USA?
With what you've given me, I cannot say yes or no.
Okay. Let's go and listen to the clip. Let's go and listen to the clip together.
This is an everyday thing for you. I've heard it 100 times.
Yeah, we play this every single day because every single day we have sick old men come up here in defense of Trump without a spine and the acceptance of sexual violence. So we're going to go ahead and play it for the 101st time. Here is Donald Trump admitting to sexually exploiting naked women and or naked girls in Miss Teen USA and or Miss USA.
Well, you could also say as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
Okay, let's point out a few facts here. Did he say dressing room or did he say backstage?
You said a area in the backstage of the pageant where there were no men around with naked women in it getting dressed.
He said backstage. He did not say dressing room.
So he said a couple things. I'll go and repeat them. He said that he'd go backstage into an area where there's no men around, and inside of this area backstage where there were no men around, there were women with no clothes on. Okay, and we also know that in order for him to get into this space, right, he had to say that he was inspecting it, and the only reason he was allowed to go in is because he allowed himself to go in as he was the owner. Okay, if it was a general backstage area, we wouldn't expect there to be quote-unquote no men around. If it was a general backstage area, we wouldn't expect him to need special justification to go into that space. And if it was just a general backstage area, we wouldn't expect there to be women just standing around and wearing no clothes. What he is describing is a private woman's only changing room.
And that is your interpretation.
That is the fair interpretation. If you reject that is the fair interpretation of all facts stated in that clip, feel free to give me a better one.
A better one would be a single dressing room where a woman goes in and actually gets naked and changes clothes.
So if we accept everything that you just said, a single dressing room where no, 1 second. If we accept if we accept everything that you just said, a single dressing room where a woman would go inside and get naked, then we know that's the space that Donald Trump went into. Since in that clip that we just listened to, we heard Donald Trump say that whatever space he was going into, it had women inside with no clothes on.
Let's. Did you ever go to think that all these women that was backstage, like he said, had known beforehand that Donald Trump owns the pageant? He's allowed to come through here at any time. So if you don't feel like wearing clothes, you need to be in a covered space.
Okay.
Do you think that was told to them? Or did you ever think to look that far?
So the reason why we know that the women competed at Miss USA didn't consent is point number one, because there's no evidence that they had prior knowledge of this fact. Point number two, if they did have prior knowledge that Donald Trump would go back there to inspect, right? Well, then why would they have no clothes on? And point number three, right, is the fact that at the end of the clip, he said he got away with this, okay? If they consented to it, if they're okay with him being back there, then he wouldn't have gotten away with it because he'd be doing nothing wrong. And then point number four is at the start of the clip, he didn't say that they allowed him in. He said that he allowed himself in.
You are dodging you're pivoting.
What? How so?
Because.
So
exactly
I mean,
what I just said.
Well, I'll demonstrate how I'm not
You
pivoting.
did not think to go back and ask the women yourself if they knew that Donald Trump could come in the backstage at any time he wanted to.
Well, I mean, Miss Arizona, one of the women in 2001 said that he just barged on her while she was naked without any prior knowledge. So we asked the women, turns out you're wrong.
Well, let's get one woman, and that could be for the Democratic Party that could have set her up to say that, right or wrong.
Well, what about the 4 teens at Miss Teen USA in 1997, including Mariah Bogado, that said the same thing?
Yeah, and what about E.G. Carroll that tried to...
Oh, okay, so it's ask the women until the women say something that you don't want to hear.
No, it's just you go through so many.
That's exactly what it is. It is ask the women.
So
No. It is ask the women until the women say something that you don't want to hear. You were just arguing that we should have asked the women if they knew that Donald Trump would be walking into that space and looking at their naked bodies.
Yeah, you don't.
Okay, but as soon as the women tell you otherwise, as soon as the women tell you, no, I didn't know, I was sexually exploited. Okay, all of a sudden you deny their testimony. And by the way, I hope you know that minors can't consent. So the 14s, Mariah Bogado and the other 3, alongside everybody else that competed at Miss Teen USA that also had this happen to them, okay, it doesn't matter if Donald Trump gave them a heads up that he'd be sexually exploiting them. It was still yet sexual exploitation.
So you're going to take one woman's testimony over the rest of the field?
No, what I'm going to be taking is an admittance of guilt from the perpetuator of sexual violence corroborated by the victim testimony of 5 individuals. That's what I'm going to be taking. And that is a standard of evidence in which I believe to be certainly true. Okay? If you had a buddy that you knew was at a party last night, walk up to you and tell you that he raped a woman at this party last night, and then you were like, okay, did you actually do this? And he was like, yeah, I actually did this. And then you went and you found that woman and you asked her if he raped her at this party last night, and she said, yeah, he raped me at this party last night. You'd be crazy to deny that your friend's a rapist. And the parallel here is when we have Donald Trump saying, well, yeah, when I own these pageants, I'd sexually exploit them. I look at them while they're naked unconsensually, right? Barge into their dressing rooms. And then you go and you ask the women and the girls, and they all say the same thing. Yes, he did this to me, right? You'd be crazy to deny that that occurred.
You didn't ask all the women. You asked one from Arizona and like another one that was from somewhere else. You've got about 3 testimonies out of thousands of women.
Okay. Well, quite frankly, point number 1, I don't think that we need the testimony of any of the women or girls because Donald Trump's admittance of guilt is enough. And the testimony of the one woman and the 4 girls from Miss Teen USA and Miss USA is just simply the cherry on top to further demonstrate your absurdity rooted within the fact that you're denying reality.
The reality is simple, and you're definitely not judging by reality.
Of course I am. He told us that he looked at them while they're naked.
He can have any woman he wants, and you've tried to exploit him all the way through.
Donald Trump is the one that said he'd sexually exploit them.
No, did he say exploit them?
Yeah, he said that he'd exploit them because what he said is he'd barge into the space unconsensually via the abuse of his position of power to then abuse their position of vulnerability by looking at them while they were undressing with no clothes on in the furtherance of that unconsensual sexual conduct. That is definitionally speaking sexual exploitation.
Your definition, not mine.
So you don't think that the definition of sexual exploitation would include somebody abusing their position of power over the position of vulnerability of somebody else in the furtherance of unconsensual sexual conduct?
If he used his power wrongfully, they would have sued him.
Wait. Answer my question. So I just want to clarify. You are disagreeing. You do not think that sexual exploitation would include somebody abusing their position of power over the position of vulnerability of somebody else in the furtherance of unconsensual sexual conduct. You don't think that that's sexual exploitation?
I don't think that he has.
Answer my question. I'm not asking you anything specifically about Trump. I'm rather asking you about what you think is or is not the definition of the phrase sexual exploitation.
What is the definition? Give me the Webster's definition.
Dude, oh my God. I'm going to repeat the question for one last time. Do you promise to be attentive and to be listening closely?
I'll try.
Are you denying? Do you know what denying something means? Do you know what that word means?
I guess.
Good. Are you denying that the definition? Do you know what the word definition means?
Yeah, I just asked you for Webster's.
Are you denying that the definition of the phrase sexual exploitation would include somebody abusing their position of power over the position of vulnerability of somebody else in the furtherance of unconsensual sexual conduct?
Okay. If that was true, in any circumstance at all, he would be sued. And you know that.
I'm just simply asking if you deny that this is the definition of sexual exploitation.
No, that sounds correct to me.
Okay. So earlier when you said your definition of sexual exploitation might include this, when I was talking about how Donald Trump abused his position of power as the owner of the pageant to allow himself to unconsensually barge into this space.
He done everything that he was entitled. He was entitled.
He literally said he did.
He was entitled, or you and I both know that he would be held responsible.
Wait. You just said that he didn't. He literally said that because he was the owner of the pageant, he allowed himself to go back there. Is that not him abusing his position of power to go into
Absolutely not. It's entitlement.
Wait.
He's entitled to.
He's entitled to their naked bodies?
He's entitled to go back at stage at any time, and they knew it, and he did too.
Wow.
There would be lawsuits.
So you're telling me that if I film on a movie, that the director of that movie is entitled to follow me into the bathroom unconsensually and look at my penis?
You would ask, I'm assuming, if you was going backstage.
Oh my God.
Put it like this.
Oh my God.
If
Why
you-
can't
if
you answer the question?
Here, because
No. Why can't you answer the question? Are you arguing that the director of a movie that I'm filming as an actor in would be entitled to unconsensually follow me into the man's restroom and look at my mail member?
How many restrooms did Donald Trump go in?
Answer my question.
You got to answer that.
He went into a changing room, not a restroom, but
No,
it's the same
he went in
thing.
backstage. He just said it. Backstage. It's not no damn restroom.
We've already went over this, okay? The
Yeah,
changing
but you're trying
room,
to change it to fit your narrative, and it's not correct.
It's not me changing it to fit my narrative. It's me fairly interpreting what Donald Trump said in the clip. He said that he'd go backstage, and then once he was backstage, he'd barge into this private women's only space that quote unquote had no men around. Okay? And inside of this space that had no men around, meaning it was private for women, there was women that were getting undressed and naked. And in order to go into this space, he had to use special justification of the abuse of his position of power. A general backstage area would not be a private women's only area where women are getting naked that men aren't allowed. Like, you are in full denial of facts. You are in full denial of reality. It is a fair interpretation of what he said. We know it is a woman's dressing room because he said in this space there were no men. We know that it is a woman's dressing room because in this space he said that there was naked women getting undressed. We know that it was a woman's only dressing room because he had to use special justification to allow himself in. And at the end of the clip, he said he knew he was doing something wrong as he knew he got away with it. We're going to go ahead and replay the clip of Donald Trump admitting to it. I want you to listen closely with full attention. I want you to remember very specific quotes, and I want you to give me an interpretation of these facts that is more fair than my own to argue that he was not barging into a private woman's only dressing room.
As the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
Give me specific quotes from that statement that would lead to the fair interpretation that this was not a private woman's only dressing room.
There was no part of that where he said any woman was naked.
He did, actually. Yeah, he did. He said that they had no clothes on.
Let's hear it.
Sure. He said that they have no clothes on.
Let's hear it.
Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. I want to make sure that
You're like
everything
doctor.
is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay?
There you
go. None of that. I didn't hear none of that. I don't know what that was. That was gibberish.
What?
Something was wrong with the recording.
Open your ears.
The recording.
Doc's
The
good.
recording.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes.
There you go. He said they had no clothes on.
They didn't say that they was naked.
That when you have no clothes on, you're naked.
Really? That's the way that you interpret that.
That's just reality, brother.
One second.
If I can't convince you that you're naked when you have no clothes on, we're not gonna get anywhere. What the fuck?
You know better than that. You know women ain't sitting around naked in a damn backstage. You know better than that. He just said.
Wait. Can we just stop complicating it? Can we agree that when you have no clothes on, you're naked?
Hey, how did the whole conversation
Just
start?
answer my question. Can we agree that when you have no clothes on, you're naked?
Well, it depends on what are you calling clothes. Are you calling underwear and bras clothes?
Yeah, underwear and bras would be an article of clothing.
Article of clothing.
Yeah, article of clothings are clothes. Yeah.
So apparently you've never been in a woman's dressing room.
Well, it makes sense I haven't because I'm a man.
Okay.
Have
well,
you?
I have.
You've been in a
Yes.
woman's dressing room?
Absolutely. I just told you that my sister grew up in that whole environment. Yes.
Wait. So
And
you
as a young-
follow your sister into public women's dressing room for
When I
beauty
was a
pageants?
younger kid and my mom, yes, I would have to be in and out of, but they would not be in naked in front of each other. That's why my testimony from seeing it firsthand, I know what's going on. And you're spinning this a whole totally different way.
How about this? How about this? You said that you do this when you're like a 4-year-old little boy because you had to follow your mom in. I'm pretty sure that's what you're saying. So let's compare your testimony to the testimony of others. Hey, women, if you've ever been in a dressing room, like at the gym, a locker room, at a public event like a beauty pageant, maybe if you've ever, maybe even at the locker rooms at, the gyms in schools, was there ever points, right, inside of these spaces where you'd be naked? So if we're going to do this on the basis of testimony, go ahead and take a look at the chat, sir. And by the way, okay, it is
This
me
is a-
saying that they were naked inside of this space, but it's also Trump. Like, how do you contend with Trump saying that they're naked? Are you denying that are you saying that Trump was wrong?
If Trump would have went into a dressing room,
Listen, I
and
answer
then
my question. Are you saying that
Trump?
Trump was wrong?
Trump can definitely be wrong. I'm not saying he's wrong all the time.
So basically, you agree that what Donald Trump admitted to was sexual exploitation. You're just saying that his admittance was incorrect.
When he started the whole, hold on, see, there you go. When he started the whole, whatever you played a minute.
Kathy, thank you so much for the $100 over on PayPal. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Kathy. Thank you so much. And oh my God, Irene, thank you so much for the $100 as well. I want to see 1,000 Kathy W's and 1,000 Irene W's down below in that chat. That is so incredibly kind of both of you guys. That is Kathy with a C. That is CATHY. Sit down, little bro. I'm thanking my donors. Kathy with $100 says once again, thank you for standing
Let me say
up.
something. I'm gonna get off here.
Hush up, little bro. Kathy with $100 says once again, thank you for standing up for girls and women of this country, Kathy. I will never stop fighting POS misogynists like this tool. Men like this are the reason why sexual violence is perpetuated to the extent it is, okay? Because what this guy's telling us is if you're a man and you commit sexual violence and then admit to it, you testify that you did it, and your victim testifies that you did it too, you'll still be able to get away with it. You'll still have men denying that it happened, and you will still have shitty dudes just like this arguing that the victim was the liar, even though you fucking corroborated the victim's testimony.
One
And
second.
it is terrible. Like, sir,
One-
people like you hold society back. People
One second.
like you ensure that there will only be more victims. The reason why I could go to nearly any woman in my life and she will tell me an experience of sexual violence is in part because of people like you. Stop being sympathetic to the perpetuator of sexual violence. Stop arguing that even if the rapist tells you he's a rapist, guess what? He's not actually a rapist. Stop arguing that when the victim's testimony of the rapist corroborates what the rapist admitted to, the victim is still a fucking liar. You are completely absurd, in full-on denial of reality. Insane. But seriously, Kathy and Irene, thank you both for the $100. You guys are so incredibly kind. Irene with $100 says, good work, young man. Thank you so very much. Cameron, thank you for the $5 and happy birthday, Cameron. Stacy, thank you so much for the $10. I appreciate you for that love. Let's get 100 Stacy W's. Delilah, thank you so much for the $6 saying I channeled my energy in a debate with a guy I knew lately. I hope that you crushed him, Delilah. And then, yo, thank you so much over on PayPal. Megan for the $2. Morgan, thank you so much for the $10, who says, grew up in pageants. No men were ever allowed into the back because we were naked and changing into different outfits. Yeah, exactly. Fucking exactly, Morgan. Thank you for the $10 and for your testimony. Amanda, thank you for the $10 on Venmo, who says, as a woman, we are naked in dressing rooms. Gigi, thank you for the $2. Frankie, thank you for the $5. Thank you for that information, Frankie. And Allie, thank you so much for the $15 over on Venmo. Allie, I'm going to go to keep your message to myself. Just know that I really appreciate you. And Ramen, sorry, not Ramen. What the hell? Rami, thank you so much for the $25 over on Venmo. Rami with a $25 says, as a woman, fuck you, guest. Would you like to respond to Rami?
Can I go ahead and say something real quick?
Can you respond to Rami saying, as a woman, fuck you, guest?
Whatever floats his boat.
That's a her. Thank you for the $25, Rami. I want y'all to show some love to Rami in that chat. Also, show some love to Nicholas in that chat for the $25. I appreciate that, Nicholas, who says dressing rooms are backstage. They are not two separate places. I'd believe you in a lot of pageants. Absolutely. Thank you for the $25, Nicholas. And then Veronica, thank you for the $25 over on Venmo, who says thank you for what you do. Well, Veronica, thank you for the $25. Thank you for being here, and thank you so much for supporting what we do. Thank you so much, Veronica. You were absolutely awesome. And then Rai, I just saw that your message came through. Thank you for the $20 as well. Thank you, Rai. Holly, thank you for the $5 who says keep on doing what you're doing. Courtney, thank you for the $10 who says my husband owns his business. It doesn't give him the right to walk into the woman's restroom when a person is in that space. Yeah, absolutely. And that should be common sense. Thank you guys so much for the love.
First of all, they would have had to sign papers, I'm sure. But let me just say this real quick, Dean. Hey.
Moving on to the next guest. By the way, I think that we got a little bit of a restriction on the live, so we may have to hit a little bit of a restart, but we'll figure that one out. I'd also like to very quickly thank Lola for the $50 over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you so much, Lola. Lola with a 50 says, this guy is absurd, absolutely ridiculous, can't handle his denial. Thank you again for what you were doing, and hopefully this guy's no daughters. Yeah, we fucking got him out of here, dude. He was crazy. Thank you for the $50, Lola. Seriously, that is so incredibly kind. $50 goes a long way, and that is a shit ton of money. Thank you so much for your support. Let's see 500 Lola W's down below in that chat. Same thing to Wendy. She didn't leave a message, but she did leave $10 over on Super Chat. Thank you so much. Gage. I don't know if I'm going to keep you around for a debate today. I've honestly, I've debated you enough in, pretty near history. I just wanted to see how you're doing today.
I'm doing good, dipshit. You can run from me.
Okay. Why are you so
What are you
aggressive all the time?
I'm not that aggressive. I keep shit real.
You keep shit real? And what do you think I'm running from exactly?
You're running from me.
Like, do you just think that you're like incredibly intelligent and can make a great argument?
Compared to you, I am.
Okay, check this out. We're not going to do like a long debate. We're going to have...
We don't have to.
We're going to do a super quick debate on literally one topic. Make your best argument for why Trump is a good president, and I will debunk you, and I'll leave you gagged.
Because he's pro-life.
So you want to save the lives of more fetuses?
I want to save the lives of everybody.
Okay, so why do you think abortion is wrong? Why do you think abortion should be banned?
Because it's killing an innocent baby.
It's killing it. Okay, so I mean, you could call the fetus whatever you want. You could call it a baby. You could call it a newborn. I call it a fetus. You could also call it an innocent. I just don't think that there's anything wrong about killing that fetus, since there's no traits of that fetus in which I deem to be morally valuable.
Okay, that's your opinion. I think it's an innocent baby that we're killing every time we do it.
So what about the life of the fetus is morally valuable?
It's a baby.
Okay, so
get Brock up here.
No, I'm not. I don't want to do this with you guys today. We've already done this enough. So you're saying the fact that it's a baby makes it morally valuable?
I think it's the fact that it's a life.
Oh, so all lives are morally valuable?
Yeah.
Okay, are you a vegan?
I mean, I'm not really. I'm kind of a carnivore.
Okay, so not all lives are morally valuable. So then what lives are morally valuable?
All human life, dipshit.
All human life. Okay, sounds good. So do you know what a brain dead patient is?
Yeah, it's somebody that can't think, dude.
Somebody that can't think. No, a brain dead patient would be somebody who has permanent and irreversible lack of cognitive function. Okay?
Kind of like you.
Well, I think I have cognitive function, Brock. Thank you very much.
Do you, though?
Well, if I didn't, are you telling me that you're getting whipped in a debate by a brain dead patient? What does that say about you
Again,
two?
well, you're the one that's
You never won a single debate.
It is a really bad idea to try to roast me or whatever by calling me unintelligent due to the fact that it backfires on you when I absolutely slam you, okay? But anyways, to get back to what I was saying, so brain-dead patients have a permanent and irreversible lack of cognitive function, and brain-dead patients are kept biologically alive by machines, life support. Brain-dead patients are human and alive. Does this mean that you think that brain-dead patients are morally valuable and it's murder to kill them?
Yeah, I do.
So therefore, it's murder to pull the plug on a brain-dead patient in the hospital?
You're killing the human, yeah.
Are they alive?
Riddle me that one, smart guy.
Seriously, are they alive?
Do you
Let
think
me
that
look
all
it up right
murderers
now.
should go to jail?
Let me look it up on Google right now.
Yeah.
So all murderers should go to jail. So the medical health professionals that pull the plug on brain dead patients in the hospital should go to jail.
They killed someone, didn't they?
Oh my god.
Huh?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So a brain dead patient, the body is alive. Yeah, you're wrong. So do you want to concede on that one?
Concede on what?
Yeah, I just looked it up on Google. The body is alive.
That was my point.
Yeah, so you're killing an innocent person.
Okay,
is
okay.
killing
All
someone
right.
alive murder? Yes.
Fuck, you guys have done it. Fine. We will talk about the pro-life argument. I'm only going to give you guys like 20 minutes max, but then I'm going to move on to the next guest.
Scurry
because,
away.
like,
Scurry away, Dean.
I just said I'd... Oh my god.
Last time we debated you had to kick us because you couldn't keep up with our intellect.
I'm actually pretty sure that I just ended my stream for the day.
No, it's because we
you had to
scared
run
you.
away.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna put the two children on mute because we do have to hit a restart. Now I'm gonna quickly describe to everybody who's watching how to come back after the restart because we have another 2 hours and 30 minutes of debates, and the only reason why we got a restart is because we got a restriction on the live. And hey, by the way, you two, Brock and Gage, you two are obviously the most like unintelligent people watching the live. So I'm gonna ask you guys to follow along very, very closely to make sure that you guys really know how to come back because we're gonna continue this conversation right after we restart. First and
So you
foremost,
got to restart to run away from us, huh? Why are you restarting? Makes zero sense to
get
me.
the
Make it
live
make sense. It makes
restriction
zero
off.
sense, dude. You're a baby.
are you
Big baby Dean.
Have you noticed that in the last 2 minutes of being connected to the live, the viewership has not gone up but only gone down? It's because we have a live restriction. We can't get anybody near enough to the For You page.
Okay, maybe that's why you think. Okay.
That's what TikTok told me. But listen,
Fake news.
okay, can you guys shut the fuck up? Thank you. For everybody tuning in on TikTok right now, hit that profile picture. Whoa, what? Hit that follow button next to the profile picture. Before we hop into our debate, I have 3 people to thank, then I'll pass you the mic. Renee, thank you for the $2 over on PayPal. And good luck in law school. Thank you for the $2. And then Kathy, oh my God, thank you for the $50 who says thank you for kicking them. We just got paid $50 for kicking the gawk. Kathy, thank you so very much for your kindness. You are literally always here and always dropping so much love. Dude, fucking love Queen Kathy over here. Show some love to Queen Kathy down below in that chat. Same thing with you, Evie. Thank you for the $15. Eve, I'm a silly goose. Thank you for the Eve. Eve for the $15 on PayPal. Says, I don't know how you put up with Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Yeah, they're really fucking insufferable. They're so stupid. It does make me laugh, though. Thank you for the $15, Eve. Show some love to Eve down below in that chat. And then Mila, thank you so much for the $5 over how much we enjoy watching you. So I think it's a green flag. Either green flag or very performative man. So either he's like the best possible boyfriend or like run away. Now you gotta make that determination for yourself, right? But good luck, best of wishes, and thank you for the $20, Maria. Let's get 200 Maria W's down in the comment section. At this point in time, thank you all once again so much for the love. If you want to support me, you can find that via it's go ahead and take it away. Why the hell do you support this tyrannical wannabe dictator, adjudicated rapist, and 34 count felon as president of the United States of America?
Yeah, I voted for him because I work in the gun business. I make guns for a living. And Kamala Harris seemed to support the mandatory buyback program for AR-15s. And I make AR-15s. And I just believe that, I didn't want that taken away. And, for building guns every day, that's just something I always enjoyed. I don't believe it's a military gun or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a semi-auto AR-15, and I think every American should have at least one. And
Okay. Okay, well, point number one, if we just look at the policy that Kamala Harris ran on, no, Kamala Harris did not run on a mandatory gun buyback program. That is just completely false. That's not true at all.
Good.
And point number two, I would support an AR ban if banning ARs were to reduce the amount of innocent children that senselessly lose their lives to gun violence. Okay, right? And quite frankly, I would prefer, right, my friend Brett Cross's son to still be alive compared to you making some money because you build the gun that killed him.
Well, that I understand that you have a good heart for someone who loses their life to an AR-15 or a gun. I understand that. But I guess my take on it is, let's say a drunk driver drives their car drunk and slams into another vehicle. How I think of it is we focus on the person behind the wheel. And if we focus on the person behind the wheel, my question is, why can't we focus on the person behind the gun instead of the gun?
So if you think that we should only focus on the person behind the wheel, do you think that it should be illegal to drive F1 race cars on public highways and roads?
I'm not sure that's legal. Is that something you can do?
It is not legal to drive that car on a public roadway because that car is unnecessary to achieve the purpose, right, that public roadways exist for, and introduces the potentiality of unnecessary death and damage to people and property because it could go like 350 miles an hour. Right. So do you understand how the more comprehensive approach, like if we're using this analogy of cars, is yes, to focus on the people driving the cars, but also in some circumstances to focus on the cars themselves? Like focusing on the people, let's make sure that you got to be 16 in order to get your driver's license. Let's make sure if you get all these tickets and you rack up all these points, you know, you're going to take that. We're going to take that away for a little bit. But then simultaneously, we're going to focus on the cars. So you can't drive an F1 car in a public roadway. You got to make sure that your brake lights work. You got to make sure that, you know, the mirrors work, so on and so forth. And the way that this would relate to gun ownership is let's focus on the people. You know, let's make sure that we have mandatory background checks. You know, let's ensure that we have like a 3-day hold when you go to buy a gun in case you're like super angry and you want that gun now to go kill someone, so on and so forth. But let's also focus on the guns. You know, if there's guns that we do not need in order to achieve a set out purpose that is reasonable, like home defense, hunting in some scenarios, so on and so forth, that causes senseless gun death, where we would see reduced gun death if we were to ban it, then maybe I'm okay with banning it.
Okay. So we're talking about ARs, right? So because it's a semi-auto, would you recommend banning like bolt guns too?
No, I don't think that bolt guns should be banned because I think that bolt guns can shoot at a lower capacity in slower frequencies and intervals compared to a semi-auto like an AR. But once again, I will make it clear, I'm not like the most educated liberal ever when it comes to gun control. I don't know if like anybody's really realized that. I don't really talk about gun control too much on the live. I should know more. But where I stand is
It's all good.
On very common sense ground. My common sense ground is that if introducing this restriction or introducing this ban would save the lives of more innocent people that otherwise would have died, right? Then I'm okay with banning it. Okay, in most scenarios, I'm okay with banning it because we have an epidemic of gun violence in this country where you're averaging close to 2 mass shootings per day in the United States of America. Seemingly other countries have been able to, reduce that epidemic and stop gun violence for the most part by AR bans, by gun bans. I mean, look at Australia. One school shooting banned ARs hasn't happened since. Look at the UK. Banned guns, gun deaths in the UK are significantly lower than they are here in America. Maybe it would be a good idea to follow suit. We got to do something. It is an epidemic that ought to be addressed, and quite frankly, Congress is not addressing it enough.
Okay. What about pistols?
I mean, I think if any gun were to be legal, it would be a type of a handgun, or a bolt or bolt actions. What related to pistols are publicly outspoke against him and his administration, arguing that they were attacking the Second Amendment.
All right. And then the other thing, which I don't 100% agree with, was immigration. Like, I agree that, okay, if you're crossing the border, then I guess you're right.
Because
I didn't realize that.
if you go to ice.gov/statistics, keep in mind, this is like Kristi Noem ICE. This is Trump Homeland Security. If you go to ice.gov/statistics, you'll be brought to an engagement an engaging infographic chart where you could then isolate specifically for arrest, detentions, and deportations of those with prior criminal convictions. And you'll see that the Trump administration is deporting them at lower rates today compared to what the Biden-Harris administration was during their 4-year term. And the reason is although Donald Trump has upped the efforts of deportation, he's also upping the scope. He's focusing on everybody in this country. I mean, literally this morning, I woke up to read an article where a 3-year-old girl had to represent herself in court because she was being fucking deported. And unaccompanied minors are being deported in America today because of the Trump administration. First, can we just agree that's crazy?
That is crazy.
Like that is like fucking nuts. Deporting unaccompanied minors? Are you kidding me? Like that actually legitimately makes my blood boil. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Okay. Yeah. Meanwhile, the Biden-Harris administration, they also had deportation efforts, which did include undocumented immigrants without any prior violent or criminal convictions, but it included more of those with the violent criminal convictions compared to the Trump administration today, per Donald Trump's own eyes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. It does sound like I'm moving towards the left, but I know I will stay Republican. But however, when it comes to Trump, I mean, I don't really support. I don't like what he did to like women. You know, he even admitted to the things he did, and I don't like that. And I don't know what obligation he was talking about. What obligation? Did he have some kind of agreement with the women to go in there? I've never seen anything like that.
Oh, you're referencing the clip that we listened to. You're referencing the obligation part. Do you want to hear the full context of that?
Yeah. Oh, no, you're good. He said he was referring to, it's your obligation to go in there, but I'm kind of wondering, what did he mean by that?
So the obligation part was actually a part of a different conversation that was finishing when he started to talk about how he'd walk into the dressing rooms. Can I play you that different conversation?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
A beautiful woman, you want the type that would say no, right? You have fantastic. One of them comes up.
Time, Judge.
You own this pageant, you go over, you're meeting the girls and stuff. One of them comes up to you and says, Mr. Trump, you're a very sexy man.
You're a beautiful man. You have fantastic hair.
Well, you're a powerful man. Right? You're a powerful man.
Right.
I want to sleep with you. Now, you're not the type that would say no.
I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Right. No, but I mean, you see a beautiful woman, you want to have that. You're a guy who likes to have everything, right?
Well, couldn't that be construed, however, as
conflict?
Yes.
Well, I don't see it as a conflict.
It could be a conflict of interest, but it's the kind of thing you worry about later.
Oh, I see.
You tend to think about the conflict a little bit later on.
The question is, how can it not be construed?
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina. And
well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
like
everything is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
So we usually just play the last 25 seconds when he's talking about going into the dressing rooms. But honestly, the rest of the context makes it worse.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I don't agree with that at all. Where he went into he pretty much admitted that they were naked.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter if they were just in a bra. You still walked in on them when they're naked.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I feel.
Yeah, dude, it doesn't matter, right? He's still aggressing on their privacy without consent. And you said that maybe you'll hop off the Trump train, which is good to hear. I really appreciate hearing that, man. But you may still stay Republican. I mean, if I had to guess, like the reason that you want to stay Republican is because of gun laws.
Yeah, I'm a huge gun guy. I make guns every day. I've been doing it for years, and it's not just that. I guess. Do
you mind if I comment on that real quick,
though? Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
So this is gonna blow your mind. I also think guns are cool. I think that guns can be cool. I think that is likely because of the environment that I grew up in. My dad loves guns. I've always shot guns with my dad. I got my hunter safety license when I was like 12 or 13 years old. The moment I turned 21 here in Colorado, literally on my 21st birthday, I went to my local sportsman warehouse and I got a 9mm, and it is sitting in my nightstand. And right now I want to start working on getting my concealed carry permit here in Colorado. And I think that's awesome, right? I think that, you know, guns in many circumstances can be really cool. Guns in many circumstances can be a useful tool. And they're, not to mention the fact that they're also very mechanically fascinating, right? But where I think we split is the effort of a lot of people on the left isn't to like take your guns away, isn't to condemn you because you're a gun owner, isn't to say that you owning that gun makes you a bad person. But rather the efforts of the left just simply recognize what should be a universal axiom. That is, when innocent people die, it is a really bad thing. And we could reduce the amount of innocent people that do die by introducing gun legislation and reform surrounding gun ownership, reforms surrounding how you get a gun in the first place, and reforms surrounding what guns you can get, what equipment that you could get to put on those guns, so on and so forth. And I think it's a really good idea, right? To you know, respect the Second Amendment while also respecting the sanctity and valuable lives of people like you, me, innocent men, innocent women, innocent children that die every single day in this country because we have more than one mass shooting every 24 hours. And I think that the only appropriate way forward is to end this epidemic with the use of legislation to control guns and to control who can own them.
Yes, that's true. I think what we should do for AR-15s, for example, it's crazy that an 18-year-old can buy an AR-15.
It's nuts. It's fucking nuts. I'm sorry for interrupting you. Just on my friend's 18th birthday, we walked into a Sportsman Warehouse and we walked out with an AR-15. It's stupid as shit. An 18-year-old should not be able to get one of those, but go ahead.
Right. Yeah, what I'm saying is I think we should have 2 background checks, 2 4473s for anyone that's under the age of 21. That way, we're not infringing on people's rights. You just have to have 2 background checks. And the secondary signature has to be 21 or older. So that way they have a requirement to lock it up until the person reaches the age of 21. So that way we're not infringing on their rights. That's just an idea since I work in the gun business. Why don't we do that? You know? I don't know.
All of a sudden, all of a sudden you've split from the Republican Party. Right? Like, you know, I have some minor disagreements with you there. I just don't think that an 18 through 20-year-old should be able to get their hands on an AR, period. But, you know, you're still yet splitting from the Republican Party, and that is more of a left-leaning centrist position on gun control.
Yeah, I believe that's right. I guess I never realized that.
Yeah.
Even as a Republican, I do still respect you. I watch your stuff all the time. And even as a Republican, I can't believe how many crazy Republicans go on your channel and they're just either not educated or they say the dumbest things to you. Yeah. I think that's just stupid.
Well, I can tell you why. The reason why we have so many people that are so crazy come up here is because Donald Trump is crazy himself, right? And it sounds like maybe like you've supported Trump because you don't really know a whole lot about him, which is like, it's not like a dig, right? You're the average American. You're a business owner. You build guns. I mean, you're not spending, you know, every moment of your life thinking about politics. I mean, you know, I bet that this is probably, you know, correct me if I'm wrong here, like the first like more nuanced political conversation that you probably had in a while, because that's just not a part of your day-to-day life. But, you know, it is a part of mine. And every single day in my life, I see something truly batshit insane that Trump says. Like last night, he said it was an act of treason to question his mental state. 2 weeks ago, he literally called for the death and execution via the means of hanging of Democrats in Congress that said the military doesn't have to follow any unlawful order that he might make. In 2020, right? You actually might have had a chance to exercise that Second Amendment against a tyrannical government if Donald Trump was successful in his attempt to coup the government and rig the outcome of the election by installing fake votes for himself in Congress, then having his supporters storm the Capitol, try to kill cops, and smear their shit on the walls inside while carrying around the flag of the rebels, the Confederacy. So I think in consideration of these facts and like many more, you know, like we even went through some of the nuances of his immigration policy and how you disagree with it and align more so with the policy of the left, that at the end of the day, like this is just somebody that no one should support. And the fact that he's president at all is like truly mind blowing.
Oh yeah, I agree. And yeah, I don't agree with Trump doing that to calling anybody to be killed. I think that's just crazy in itself that, wow, you're going to really say that to American people? Like,
yeah, it's
I don't understand.
It's so nuts. If there should be a rule that a president is thrown out of office and kicked to the curb if they're calling for the deaths of their constituents, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's just crazy. And I know Republicans are looking at what Ivanka Trump has said. I know she likes to defend her dad, but I think she needs to understand too, since she was young at the time, when he would say, "Oh, I would date my daughter," oh man, that just threw off America. Like, what? Why would you say something like that? But it doesn't make sense because Ivanka Trump also said that he has always been respectful to women. And I don't understand, Ivanka. Why are you telling people that your dad is respectful to women when he says stuff like that? Like,
Grifters.
I don't understand.
Because if she
Yeah.
didn't, she'd be thrown out of the family and buried on another one of his golf courses for for a tax credit. Now, Sam, I do appreciate you so much for coming up today. I appreciate you for the good conversation. And thank you for being
Oh
one of
yeah,
the more
thank you,
sensible
man.
guests.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you take care. You take care, Sam. All right.
You too, man.
We're going to move on to the next Trump supporter, guys. Make sure if you're in that queue that you are an American adult that supports Donald J. Trump as president. It's a little bit more of a sensible conversation we just had. I really appreciate that, you know. I really appreciate, you know, hearing from like the more sensible people, because those are people that you could talk to and make like genuine progress on. You know what I mean? Love it. What's up? Do you support Trump, Jack? All right, we're gonna move on to the next guest because they left. Okay. This is a very interesting guest. Anarcho-monarchist?
Hello.
Anarcho-monarchist.
Yeah.
What is a monarchy?
A monarchy is a hierarchy.
It's a form of a hierarchy. And what is anarchy?
A anarchy is a stateless society.
So how do we have a monarchy in a stateless society?
Well, it's a stuff like you know, a guidance a type. It's built on libertarianism.
I'm
hopinism.
asking you how you could build a monarchy on libertarianism.
Yeah, you give voluntary. It's voluntary, man.
So just like a voluntary stateless king?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh well, I'm gonna kick you because I'm looking for Trump supporters, of course. But I was just curious about your name. We're gonna move on to the next guest, guys. Only hop inside of the queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Trump as president. Every so often we'll talk to people like that last guest that just believe in like so totally contradictory views, and I think they're funny. We're going to move on to the next guest, Ricky. We have a couple people to thank here. You guys have been so incredibly kind today over on Venmo and PayPal. First and foremost, Caroline. Appreciate you so much for the $10 on Venmo. Let's get 100 Caroline W's down below who says, I love that you're honest and don't try to bullshit your way through topics that you're not familiar with. It really lends even more credibility. Well, I appreciate that, Caroline. I try to be honest. You know what I mean? Like when I don't know a whole lot about something, you know, I'm not going to bullshit you. And you know, it's also like you can't expect like one person to know everything about everything either, right? So it's like I don't even think that it really negatively reflects on me too much. But we're gonna get that next Trump supporter up in here right now. What's going on, Colbin? Do you support Trump?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what time is it?
I don't know. All I know is you a bitch.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next guest. Everyone, just go ahead and hop inside of that queue if you're an American adult that supports Trump as president. We're looking for some debates, but obviously most people that are coming up here to debate are like, you know, children that love to slur, which is, by the way, terrible look for the right, but, you know, that's kind of what MAGA consists of. John, dude, thank you for the $50 on Venmo. Brother, that is way too much. That is so fucking kind of you. Thank you, John. I do not deserve that. John, with the 50 big ones on Venmo, says free speech. I appreciate you so much for the love, brother. Let's get 500 huge John W's in both of the live chats. Thank you so very much, my friend. Thank you. What is up? Do you support Trump? And they're not even here. They're sleeping. Should we wake them up? Wake up. I'm just kidding. That's really evil. We're going to move on to the next guest right now, guys. Only hop inside of the queue if you're an American adult that supports Trump. Y'all already know our rules. Okay, here we go. I'd also like to thank Gladys for the $10 over on PayPal, who says whether it's murder or not, they still don't get to have an opinion because they don't have a uterus. That is in response
nice
to
to be,
Gage
as I
and
said,
Barack.
to own somebody else, like to be like I own this dude, Like, it's nice, to know how the streets work and to feel like you know how to handle things. But at the end of the day, sometimes a lot of the crap that happens that causes people to think that they know how things work
Hello?
come from not utilizing the
Johnny
tools that we
Toe?
actually have.
Johnny Toe, hello?
But anyhow, some people may be getting paid a lot of money. Some people may not be getting paid enough.
Okay, we just kicked him. That was weird. Moving on to the next guest, we got Red Rider loading up in the box right now. We got Karma Cat loading up in the box right now. We got Connor loading up in the box right now. What's going on, Red Rider? Do you support Trump?
Hello, I'm 18. I need to thank you. You literally saved my life. I got graped and I have a Maga family, and I was able to use your videos and everything you taught me to get through this, have my parents allow me to actually go through with an abortion. As I mentioned, I'm 18, so
What's your name?
My name's Kaya.
Kaya, thank you so much for coming up and sharing that. I'm really fucking sorry to hear that happened to you. And I'm really happy that you were able to use some of the things that we talk about on live on a day-by-day basis to change the minds of your family members. That's deep, Wow. Kaya, thank you so much for coming up, and I hope that you have a good rest of your day.
I am really sorry for
No.
not following the rules when coming up,
Don't
but I
apologize.
just need to thank you.
Yeah, don't apologize, Kaya. You have a great rest of your day, okay?
You too.
Wow, that's really heavy hitting. God, man, it's really easy to forget to be a little bit short-sighted of the impact on a day-by-day basis. For the most part, when I'm in these conversations, my brain is only really thinking about how this person is so dumb. How do I try to change their mind? What do I got to say to prove them wrong? And I'm short-sighted of that impact, that what we do here can really have a big and heavy impact on people. We're gonna move on to the next guest, next debate. But Kaya, thank you for sharing that with me. That experience alone makes everything that I have ever done worth it times 10. What's going on, Henry? Do you support Trump?
I do.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 17.
Thanks for being honest, Henry. Of course, we are only looking to talk to Trump supporters, though, so I'm going to go to kick you at this point in time and move on to the next guest right now. Guys, only up inside of the queue, if you are Maga, please. I would really appreciate if you follow.
Yo, what up?
Hello, do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
How do you, Tony?
I'm 18. I was born March 10th, and I was in the live yesterday until you kicked me.
Why did I kick you?
Because I was saying something about Hitler because you said I didn't know nothing about him.
Oh, are you the person that said that you might support Hitler if you learn more about him?
Yes, bro. I was saying that, but you didn't let me finish. You kicked me.
You understand that is synonymous to saying that you might be a Nazi.
I'm not a Nazi, though. I'm just saying,
No, what you said is that you might be a Nazi in the future.
No, I was saying it could be a thing, because I gotta learn more about him. I was using it as an example,
that is
for any person.
That is dude, that is the worst example ever.
How is that a bad example?
Because you said that you could be a Nazi in the future.
I didn't say I could be. I said I don't know. That was
Because you did say you could be.
Then you were
I didn't say I could be. I said I might be. Is that what you're about to say? You're about to say I didn't say I could be. I said I might be.
All right, I mean maybe, but still, all right.
Is it?
I got another.
Is it? Come on, brother. It's crazy to say I might be a Nazi. Do you really understand what the Holocaust was and what its impact was then and now? I don't think that enough people truly understand the impact of the Holocaust, especially people like you. The Holocaust is much more than a sentence. The Holocaust is like much more than something, titled a chapter in the history book in one of your high school courses. The Holocaust was a systemic genocide of over 12 million people, right? Like even those words don't explain the impact. Okay,
I feel
It was a
bad.
systemic torture, starvation, mutilation, rape, and genocide of over 12 million
Damn, that is crazy.
people. Okay?
Yeah, that is pretty damn crazy, Dean.
Right. So
I'll admit it.
why would you ever say that you may support that?
I was using him as an example. I wasn't saying I'm a fucking Nazi, Dean.
So just to clarify, you will never be a Nazi, right?
I won't be a Nazi. I don't know about Hitler, though.
Okay, Tony, I just think that you're a terrible person.
Dean.
Like what are we doing, dude? Like it's just like people that say that, I have to believe that they just don't know enough about what Hitler did. Like people that say that, I just have to believe that they just don't know the impact of the Holocaust. You know? It's like I just have to believe that. Okay? Because embracing like the view that some people just support that, oh my God. It's too much, man. What's up? Do you support Trump, Carter?
No, I do not.
You're also a penis. We're only looking to talk to people that are at least 18 years old, guys. Please make sure that you're following our rules, please. Hey, over on YouTube Super Chat, professional dog trainer. Thank you for the not for the 50 years, for the $50. And Elena, thank you so much for the $50 as well. Thank you so much, you two. Guys, let's get 500 dog trainer W's. Let's get 500 Elena W's. That is Elena spelled Elayna. Elena with the $50 says, thank you for the impact that you make on this country, Dean. You remind me humanity isn't truly dead, and now there's still good people out there. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Well, Elena, you've been watching the streams for months now. I really appreciate you so much, and thank you so much for your continued kindness, guys. Please show some love to Elena and professional dog trainer, who both sent $50 over on Super Chat down below in that chat. And by the way, if you're watching and you want to support me, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, in the link tree in the bio of the account. You could also find it, I was going to say at the top of the phone, but it's gone now. Then over on that YT stream, you could find it in the pinned message. I get 100% of those proceeds. They go straight to me. You could attach your name in a message and I could read it off. And I'm just really grateful and thankful for everybody that has shown so much love today. Thank you, you guys. What's going on? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, Dean, what's good?
Not too much. Just, changing minds. Here, have you seen me change like the minds of like 4 of your brothers?
Oh, yeah, I enjoy your content, but there's one reason that you probably will never change my mind, and it has to do with immigration with Trump. And I could explain why.
How old are you?
And I know what you're going to say. Oh, the GDP, bro.
How old are you?
Look at the...
How old are you?
Oh, 2005.
Okay, so why do you support Trump, Mr. Tom?
I know about the bad reasons, but I know about the good reasons. And like I said, I know what you're going to say. The GDP, bro. You bring people in, the GDP is going to go up. That's probably the only positive I can think of. I feel like we could use Europe as an example.
That's not the only positive that exists. If we were to offer undocumented immigrants a pathway to residency or citizenship, they'd hold more bargaining power in the workplace. Thereby, they'd get higher wages. Thereby, we'd expect to see an increase in real median wages countrywide. They also pay, insofar as their taxable contributions to the government, around $100 billion per year on average. Now, if you were to offer them a pathway to residency or citizenship, they'd actually be able to claim the benefits that their tax dollars are being spent on. Therefore, more of them would be willing to work over the table. Plus, they'd be able to file for a tax return. So that would increase their taxable, the taxable revenue generated by our government without any material change in the employment of undocumented immigrants. There's something else that we could go over as well here, which would be the fact that they help build the social and moral fabric of this country. Undocumented immigrants are better people on average compared to citizens. They're 2.5 times less likely to commit violent crimes, 3 times less likely to commit property crimes, and 3.5 times less likely to commit petty crimes. So, when we consider these attributes, you have an echo. Swipe in and out of your. When we consider these aspects of how they're beneficial to the economy, they're beneficial to the economy in many ways, considering the ones that I just went over. They're beneficial to the government, and they're beneficial to the social and moral fabric of the country. I'd argue that it's incredibly hard to then turn around and justify mass deportation. But that's what we're here to talk about. So feel free to unmute your mic. Just make sure that you fix the mic first, please.
Okay, Dean. Is it echoing very badly right now?
No, you're good again.
All right. So I feel we can use the U.S. as an example because we mostly get immigrants from Mexico. They have the same moral values as us. They come from the nuclear family idea, like more Catholic families. Like, and I'm not even Catholic. I'm just using Catholicism as like.
What do you mean nuclear family?
Just like I don't really know how to describe that term, but like you know what I mean when I say that.
So you're saying that
correct?
they share the same moral values? I'm not sure if I know what you mean when you say that.
Like just like Catholic background, just like the American dream in a way, even though they come from Mexico.
What do you mean by Catholic background? Like what specific moral virtues are you referencing here?
Just not. I mean, I'm gonna refer to Islam as like an example. Like when Europe is getting Islamic immigrants right now, that's turned pretty aggressive, and a lot of people are using Europe as an example of how the United States could be in the next 10, 15 years if we continue with the...
So what moral virtues do Islamic immigrants in Europe hold to that you think would make them unqualified to enter into the U.S.?
Oh, of course. I mean, their prophet Muhammad married a 9-year-old. I know the grape is a very... I'm trying to use correct words here.
Yeah.
But there's an increase of like 200% of rape in Europe with Islamic immigrants.
So there's a lot of Muslims that do not interpret the hadiths to conclude that Prophet Muhammad married a 9-year-old. Now, is it true that Prophet Muhammad married a 9-year-old? From all the investigation I've ever done, yeah. Aisha was fucking 6, not 9, 6 when they were married. And 9
when he slept with her. And that's why I'm...
Can you allow me to finish speaking here?
Yep, sorry.
But that doesn't change the fact that there are plenty of Muslims that hold on to a different interpretation of the hadiths and do not think that Aisha was 6 when she was married to Prophet Muhammad, or 9 when that marriage was consummated and she was raped. Okay, and I would say that this is an incredibly relevant distinction. Okay, because for sure, if there is like somebody out there that follows the Quran, follows Islam, and thinks that Prophet Muhammad didn't commit any major sins, acknowledges that he raped a 9-year-old, and therefore don't think it was wrong to rape that 9-year-old, that is an incredibly amoral belief that nobody should hold. Very similar to many Christians that will read Leviticus 25 verses 44 through 46 of the Christian Bible, where God says that slavery is okay, and then yield to the belief that slavery is okay in some circumstances. Or we'll read 1 Samuel 15:3, where God commands the genocide of the Amalekites, and we'll read where he said that they all need to die, man, woman, and child, and then take away that sometimes it's okay to kill children at mass, so on and so forth. Okay, but there's a lot of Christians. Use Bible verse. But there's a lot of Christians that interpret the Bible in such a way that does not lead them to holding any immoral beliefs. Very similar to the fact that there's many Muslims that practice Islam that interpret the hadiths and the Quran in such a way that do not lead them to holding any immoral beliefs. So I do not think you arguing that all Muslims, right, hold to bad moral values, because it's true that Prophet Muhammad raped a 9-year-old for the reasons that I just gave and more.
Dean, before you come in, I brought up Aisha in the first place, just to use as an example on why Europe, a lot of European countries that have gotten this influx of Islamic immigrants.
That America's fucked because according to the best historical interpretation, Mary was 13.
Big increase. I'm not religious, Dean, so there's no point of using these.
So is America already fucked because there's all these Christians that follow a religion where God forcefully impregnated a minor?
Yeah, I think a lot of religion's a problem, dude.
Wait, so we need to stop all Christian immigration into America?
I never said that.
So then we don't need to stop all.
They're already here. They're already here. It's already a big ideology here, and it's already fading away.
So we don't need to stop, right? Like Islam.
Can you let me finish? I mean, I use Aisha as an example to explain why Europe has such a big increase in rape right now. It's crazy. It's crazy, literally. I don't have.
Your mic is fucked again. You're really fucking something up right now.
I know, sorry. I'm putting my charger on my, it's one of those chargers you lay your phone down on instead of plugging it in.
Yeah. So I don't think that you'd be able to sit here and give an argument to prove that because Prophet Muhammad married a 6-year-old, that therefore more Europeans are getting raped today. I think that's incredibly far out and crazy. However, I will say if you care about rape, then why do you support a grapist as president? You're
I
gonna
mean, it's just different moral.
you're gonna sit here and you're gonna say that you care about the grape in Europe, but simultaneously you're gonna support an American rapist to serve as the most powerful man alive.
That's
Really?
why. That's why I'm literally only using immigration as an example to support Trump. I don't support his moral values. I don't support. I'm not. I don't have a degree in economics.
Wait. But you're saying you don't support his quote unquote moral values, even though he's a rapist, he should still be able to serve as the president.
Yeah,
of
there's
the
a
United
difference
States of
between-
America. But then you turn around and you argue because you think that certain immigrants hold different moral values than you, that they shouldn't even be allowed into America in the first place. Obviously, if quote unquote different moral values is a red line for entry into the country,
Guest
it
is
should
not
therefore
20.
also it should therefore also be a red line insofar as entry to the Oval Office. Can we agree that it is hypocritical to suggest that it is good to hold moral values as a red line to bar entry into America, while simultaneously believing that it is not good to hold moral values as a red line to bar entry into the Oval Office?
Yes, Dean, and this is not a concession, bro. This is just common sense. What you're asking me. This is not a concession.
It is. I can explain how. It's a
How?
concession,
Dean,
because
this-
what you just told us.
I never brought up E. Jean Carroll. I never brought up.
The reason that it's a concession is because you just told us that it is fair to hold grape as a red line to bar entry to bar entry into.
We're
the White
seeing
House.
it affect.
Do you mind
We're
if you allow me to
seeing it
finish
in
speaking
real
here?
time.
Do you mind if you allow
Yep,
me to
sorry,
finish
sorry.
speaking here?
Sorry,
you just
sorry,
said
sorry.
that it's fair to say that it's fair to hold grape as a red line to bar entry to the White House. Therefore, because Donald Trump is a grapist, he should be barred from entry into the White House. Therefore, you do not support Trump as president.
Yeah, no, that's just not how it works. Because I never brought up E. Jean Carroll.
What's
I
a
don't.
red
I
line?
mean, it's like a distinction of when it's gone too far, right?
A red line in this sense would be basically if the president did something that you would stop supporting them as president. And you just said that one
Guest
of those
follows
red lines
kids.
would
Hold
be
up, hold
something
up,
that
hold up.
Donald
We
Trump
need to
has
know.
done.
Can we address that? Can we address that? The chat's saying I follow kids. Can we please address that?
Chat, if there's any evidence that he follows kids, I have.
Please address that, chat.
One moment.
Because
Chat, if there's any evidence that he follows kids, feel free to drop it in the lives channel of my Discord. Got it open on the right hand of my phone screen. Sorry, not phone screen, computer screen. But until then, I would really appreciate it if you could please respond to the argument that I just gave. You said that it's common sense to quote unquote hold a red line against rapists serving as a president of America, yet you support Donald Trump as president of America, even though he's infringed on that red line, which ultimately means you ought not support Trump as president of America. And if you want to respond to this by saying, I never brought Eugene Carroll up, I never brought the grape case up, I just support him because of immigration. Well,
No, I'll
a
give a
red line,
different-
a red line by nature is arguing that regardless of all else, regardless of what his immigration policy is, you would still not support him as president because he has done these things.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, Dean. And so yeah, I guess I conceded in a way, but the only reason I said the only way I support Trump is because of his immigration policy. Like it's one of those things, dude, where it's a false equivalence in my mind. What you're giving me, you're giving me.
What
You're giving me like,
precisely is his immigration policy?
I mean, I've seen the stats. What they're not letting the borders are closed. 90% of people isn't it down 90%? I think I've heard you say that before.
I think it's
or you
down
said
over
some
90.
stupid shit
I
where
think
it was
it's-
like
I think it's down over
You said it's down 105% or something silly like that, right? You were like it's down 110, something like that.
I was probably quoting Trump because it's something that he's actually said. But I asked you to name the immigration policy that Donald Trump has, and then you just referenced the fact that undocumented entry has slowed into this country dramatically in the last 10 months. Can you name the policy that he's implemented to slow undocumented entry?
No, maybe the Lake and Riley Act. That's all I can think of, but that's probably not even.
The Lake and Riley Act has nothing to do with border security and all to do with when we're allowed to deport undocumented immigrants.
Yeah, well, I'm not savvy on fucking policies, Dean. I'm using my voice as like the American people. I know a lot of people my age just.
I'll be able to help you.
It's
I'll be able to help you.
the preservation of culture and just like the same ideologies as ourselves, Dean. Like don't smile at that. It's common sense.
So I'll be able to help you here. So I'll respond to the culture argument after I fry your shit on the immigration policy.
Fry my shit, Dean. I'll full box you, bro. Fry my shit. Fry my shit right now, boy.
Your shit's fried.
Charger that's fried. Sorry.
I just charged your shit. I just fried your shit. But anyways, to get back to the immigration. To get back to the immigration argument. Okay, right. The reason why you cannot name any good immigration policy that the Trump administration has implemented to reduce undocumented entry is because policy hasn't reduced undocumented entry. Fascism has reduced undocumented entry. He is scaring new undocumented entry away by violating the human and constitutional rights of the undocumented immigrants that are already here. Okay? Obviously, potential new entry is going to get scared away when they see the Trump administration violating Abrigo Garcia's right to due process and a fair trial in a court of law, than illegally deporting him to El Salvador, where he was then tortured and beat in CCOT. Obviously, that new entry is going to be scared away when they're hearing the stories about 3-year-old girls representing themselves in an immigration court facing deportation for illegal entry. Obviously, okay, that new entry is going to get scared away when they're hearing the stories about the plainclothes, masked, non-identified ICE agents black bagging college students off of the street, violating the withholding order of a federal judge, and taking them to an ICE detention center 1,000 miles away. Obviously, that new entry is going to be fucking scared away when they hear about the Trump administration illegally deporting planes worth of Venezuelan immigrants to CCOT in El Salvador with no due process, leading a federal judge ruling that he has enough evidence to hold his administration in contempt because he violated his ruling that they cannot be removed and continued the planes on down to El Salvador. But that's not policy. That's not good. Okay? That's an attack on rule of law. That's an attack on our Constitution. And that's an attack on human rights.
All right, Twin, you're frying my shit right now. I get it. But, like, I'm just using my voice as... I know a lot of the American people feel the same, but it's just a toughy subject talking about immigration and how some of these people do negatively affect our neighborhoods. And just, but that's why I use Mexico as an example, because they, like, I mean... Can
you respond to the argument? Because it just doesn't sound like you're responding to my argument.
I can see, yeah, I guess he doesn't have any good policies, but I just know border control. It's down.
Yeah, and it's down because of the reasons that I just described.
If the numbers are down, it's working. But no, yes.
No, that does not mean that it's working. Well, okay, I'll give you an analogy. So let's imagine that you work at a company.
And first of all, your chat is straight degenerates. They're just because I brought up Aisha, they're saying I follow kids. And
yeah, it's worth clarifying. So far, the chat actually don't make that accusation unless there's any evidence for it. So far, I've not seen a single person post any evidence in that chat about the guest following kids, including somebody that looked through his following list and said he's not following kids. I hate when people say
follow
that
like Siege and Rust YouTubers, bro. Like I'm a gamer.
So don't say that people are following kids unless they actually are, because now I have to defend the guy that said we should stop immigration to preserve white culture is likely what he was going to say.
I'm about to get I'm going to get DMs and shit.
Because in all reality, so far, I haven't seen any kids on his following list be reported by a single person on my Discord. And by the way, if there's anybody in the chat saying he is, right, please give me in the Discord evidence. We're all looking for it.
I would love to know as well.
We're all looking for it, because if he is, okay, we'll get him out. But anyways, okay, so you just conceded the last argument, which means that he has no good immigration policy, and the only reason we've seen a reduction in undocumented entries because he's a fucking fascist that wants to violate their rights. Okay, and then you said, well, it's working because undocumented entry's gone down. Listen very closely to the next word that comes out of my mouth. We're going to do an analogy. Okay, here's my question for you. My question for you is, if you work at a company and your boss has been tasked with increasing worker productivity, and then your boss kills the least productive worker and strings him up publicly and says, hey, this is what's going to happen to you unless you become more productive, then all of a sudden worker productivity is fucking up and up and up and up, right? Would you argue that that boss is good at their job because they were able to increase worker productivity?
It's a false equivalence argument, and that's a terrible hypothetical.
What's the false equivalence?
It's a fallacy, right?
Can you tell me what the false equivalence is?
Comparing death to immigration, like murder, straight up, just like first degree murder out of nowhere. Like your hypothetical is that your entire basis. First of all, your memory and shit, amazing, but just like your whole basis of how you argue using your terrible hypotheticals is just so weird. Like it's actually
someone's
sickening.
getting really butthurt. I can explain the analogy.
I'm trying to have a conversation.
Listen, I know that you need a helping hand. I'll give it to you. So that was not a false equivalency, because the equivalency was doing something immoral to produce the outcome you want to achieve. If you do something gravely immoral to produce the outcome that you want to achieve, you cannot argue that the gravely immoral means are no longer immoral. Okay? Obviously, we would argue here that in the analogy, what the boss did by killing one of the workers and stringing them up to scare the other workers and becoming more productive, okay, is not a good boss, even though they were able to increase worker productivity, because the means that they used to achieve an increase in worker productivity is because was incredibly immoral. Just like the Trump administration has been able to reduce undocumented immigration into this country, doesn't mean he's a good president with good immigration policy.
Aren't
because
morals
the means that he's been
subjective?
able to use to achieve a reduction in undocumented immigration into this country are incredibly immoral, including the literal torture of people, the starvation of people, the deportation of unaccompanied minors, and everything else that I just went over. So hopefully now you understand that I did not make a false equivalency. The equivalency was just something that you could not understand because you have a pea-sized brain.
Thank you, Dean. My IQ is actually 60. I do have a pea-sized brain. It's actually a walnut, so thank you.
Let me know when you want to respond to the argument.
I mean, morals are subjective now, so like, same. That's why we let these people into our countries, and they can put the grape statistics up 200% because morals. I mean, supposedly to them, morals are subjective, right?
So actually, undocumented immigrants reduce grape statistics.
Not talking about US, not talking about the
times
USA.
less likely to commit violent crimes on American soils compared to American-born citizens. Thank you so much for not only not responding to the argument that I gave you, but also making a terrible fucking counter argument, once again re-demonstrating your pea-sized brain. What I'd precisely like you to respond to, which you just ran away from because you're an incompetent, likely racist, is the argument that although Donald Trump has been able to reduce undocumented immigration into this country, it's not a good thing because of the means in which he has been using to reduce undocumented entry into this country. Is that the argument that you want to respond to? Or do you just want to keep on going off on this sick tangent, demonizing immigrants in Europe? Which one? Okay, because what it
All
sounds
right,
like
Dean,
to me
I'll-
right
I'll
now is that you're
respond to the first
losing.
one. You're right.
And
No, you're right.
really
I'm pivoting.
fucking
You're right. Just-
butthurt because you're losing, and then you're trying to take it out on immigrants in Europe. And don't try to sit here and tell me that you fucking care about grape, considering the fact that you made a grapist president one last time. Thank you. Respond to the argument. Everybody's attention is on you.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the ICE videos, Dean. I understand that his way of going through with these is not proper. But what about your favorite president, Barack Obama? Same thing. It's stuff that happens. They don't do these things perfectly for some reason. And you're going to say, oh, I don't care about grape. I'm probably racist. Like, it's just, we're having a conversation, Dean. I'm a Republican, so I'm going to talk about the talking points that I have. For you to throw, like, I could throw any other accusation at you, and it's just like.
Are you ready to just have your mind blown?
Yeah.
I have the ability to disagree with Democratic politicians.
Yeah,
even
and just
though
like I just
I'm
disagree,
a
just like I
Democrat. If Obama deported a single undocumented immigrant using immoral means, it was bad. If Obama deported a single undocumented immigrant to Sikot in El Salvador where they were tortured, it was bad. If Obama denied due process to a single undocumented immigrant, which he didn't, you have no evidence of that, that would be bad. Okay? I know it's a crazy concept, okay? But just because somebody's
don't
a
agree with
Democrat
everything he's done.
doesn't mean that I have to agree with him. And now you're going to try to pull the same thing card. Dean, I'm just like you. I also have the ability to disagree with Trump when Trump does things
Exactly.
that are bad.
Thank you.
But you
Thank
understand the one topic that you came up here to discuss in support of is the one topic so far that I've been able to prove is bad.
I never said his way of doing it's perfect, but I appreciate how he's helping the United States, dude. Because in 10 years,
all things considered, do you think Donald Trump was justified in torturing people, violating human rights, and infringing on the Constitution to achieve the end goal of a reduction in undocumented entry? Your answer has to be yes.
I love my
or else you
Mexican
can
people,
cease.
dude.
Oh, okay. So now you're going to call all undocumented immigrants Mexican because you're getting fucking fried.
Wait,
now
whoa,
that you've conceded, right, that all things considered, the means in which Donald Trump has used to reduce undocumented entry do not justify the reduction in undocumented entry. Therefore, can we agree that even if it meant a higher level of undocumented entry into this country today, that is preferable to the abuse of the rule of law, the Constitution, and human rights that Donald Trump has perpetuated to cause this reduction?
Yes, I cannot agree with Donald Trump's way of going about this.
Thank you. That's a concession. You no longer support
That's
his
fine. That's
immigration
fine. I'll
policy.
take a concession, Dean. I'll take a concession. But
Perfect.
the only reason I
You
came
no
up here
longer
is to
support his
just give
immigration
my
policy.
points.
I know, but you just conceded. Like, you seriously, you don't support Trump's immigration policy. Thank you for conceding that. That's awesome.
I don't support the way he treats illegal immigrants, but I support the way he's getting them out. I mean, it's
So
as
what you
simple
just
as that,
said
Dean.
is, all things considered, you would accept a higher level of undocumented entry into this country if it meant that Donald Trump didn't violate the rule of law, Constitution, and human rights.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else you want to go over, man?
Nah, dude. Thanks for having me up. Honestly, I mean, just it's gonna get worse if it doesn't get better with immigration. That's all I'm gonna say.
Immigration is just so far in this country's history only made it better.
All right. I agree on some parts of it. Have a good day, though, dude. I'm gonna keep watching the rest of the live, dude.
Cool. We're going to move on to the next guest, guys. Only op inside of that cube. If you happen to be an American adult that supports Donald J. Trump as president, I would really appreciate it if you guys could please follow the rules. Let's go to move on to the next guest, Bucket, right now. We also got a bunch of people to thank. Libby, thank you so much for the $25 over on Venmo. Appreciate you for that love, Libby. Let's get 250 Libby W's down below, who says we can criticize Democrats because we aren't in a cult. Yeah, and honestly, when it comes to immigration, I'm further left than the Democratic Party by quite a bit. But Libby, it is so good to see you today. Thank you for the $25. Show some love.
Dean, may I ask a question? Dean, may I ask a question? Okay, think about it.
Are you a Trump supporter?
Hell yeah. What the fuck? All right, think about it. If someone breaks into your house, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna kick them out.
Are you gonna sit in the closet, Dean?
Nope.
Are you gonna play with your toes, wiggle your toes around?
I'm gonna grab my 9mm and I'm gonna make sure that
Oh my God. Okay.
that
So
they are
think about
hurting
it.
my girlfriend.
Oh, Dean.
That's actually.
Calm down. No more stupid hypotheticals. You put the harshest hypotheticals on everything. No more stupid ones. Okay. So let's think about it.
As you're
okay,
giving
Dean?
me a stupid hypothetical. Thank you.
Dean. All I said is someone breaks into your house, breaks into your home.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's say someone breaks into your country, right? Someone breaks into your country, jumps a line. Remember what Charlie Kirk said?
What did you do?
I don't know. What did I do, Dean?
I've actually no fucking clue. Rip. He got a violation for harassment and bullying. What did he do? Damn, Bucket. Bucket, you got like a second account or anything? I want to talk to you. Come back on a second account. I don't know why TikTok banned you. Or Bucket, you could come back in 10 minutes. Because I think the cooldown on the restrictions are 10 minutes. No clue what you did to get that violation. That was crazy. What's going on? Do you support Trump, Big Steve?
I love you, dude. I love you.
Hey, man, I love you too, Steve. You take care. We're gonna move on to the next guest right now. Y'all make sure that we're only in that queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Donald J. Trump as president. This person's probably not a Trump supporter because their bio says spread love, not hate. We'll still check though. All right, we're gonna go. What's up? Are you a Trump supporter? Hello. Okay, bye, Miss Moore. She's not here. We're going to move on to the next guest right now. I don't think I've ever seen a Trump supporter say that. As well as Andrea, thank you for the $5 over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love. As well as Ali, thank you for the $30 over on Venmo. Holy shit, you guys. Ali with the $30 says, just witnessed 7 Border Patrol vehicles. The message cut off here. Just witnessed 7 Border Patrol vehicles on the side of the highway in Miami-Dade arresting 1 lawn service truck. It's a travesty what is happening. Yeah, it's a fucking travesty, dude. Especially the kids. The unaccompanied 3-year-old girls being deported because they came in illegally. That honestly makes, oh my God, it pisses me off. Thank you for the $30, Ali. Let's get 300 Ali W's down below in that comment section. Thank you so much for your kindness. What's up, Zaylee? You support Trump?
Hi, yes I do.
How old are you? Zaylee, hello?
2005, April 10th.
Okay, and how old does that make you?
20.
Perfect. Okay, Zaylee, I need to thank a couple people, then we'll hop into the debate.
All good, all good.
Real quick, Hannah and Marianne, both of you guys, thank you for the $30 each over on Venmo. Let's fucking go, y'all. Marianne with the $30 says, holding the line for women with these pseudo-intellectual incels. Thank you. Well, thank you for the $30 and for always being here. You're literally always hanging out with us. I love you, Marianne. Thank you so much for the $30. Same thing to you, Hannah. Thank you for the $30 who says, just need you to know that I finished watching your stream for 20 hours straight on my road trip home for the holidays. Oh my God, Hannah. Dude, you gotta be you gotta be ready for some political debates. Go hop on Omegle or something and just get it out. I bet you're a fucking god, okay, after watching 20 hours straight. My Lord. As well as Lori, thank you for the $10 who says, I watch you every day while I treadmill at the gym. I'm surrounded by small-minded Trump supporters, and I love that they can see me watching you. Ooh, yeah, I bet they love that. It gives them some motivation to work out harder. Nolan, thank you for the $5. Christina, appreciate you for the $5. Iron with a 1. Caroline with a 10. And Frankie with a 3. Appreciate you guys so much for the love. We are all caught up over on Venmo. Real quick, before we hop into this debate, let's also make sure that we're caught up over on PayPal. Let's make sure that we're not forgetting anyone here. Thank you for the $1, Cecilia. George, thank you for the 3. Carter, thank you for the 10. And Gladys, thank you for the 10. Okay, it looks like we're all caught up over there too, over on Super Chat. Thank you for the $20 Dog Trainer, who says you're on fire today, Dean. You always do a good job, but your arguments are razor sharp today. Good to hear, honestly. I feel like I'm in a good mood. I feel like I'm making some good arguments. Thank you for the $20 Dog Trainer. And then I'm just going to call you M. M, thank you so much for the 50 Canadian dollars over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. Ma with the 50 Canadian dollars says, I'm First Nations, 15,000 generations in America. I'm so sorry, Trumpers. You are the boat people. Dude. Yeah. Trump supporters are definitely the boat people. Appreciate you for the $50. Take it away. Appreciate your patience, Zaylee. Tell us why you support Trump as president.
I support him because of the abortion policies.
So you're pro-life?
Kinda.
What does that mean? What does kinda mean?
It's very confusing. Do you mind if I go into that a little?
Yeah, that's fine. Also, everybody, she is 20. It even says it on like one of her posts from a while back. Yeah, but go ahead.
Okay, so my sister, she's 14. She got brutally raped when she was much younger, and she got, and she's still dealing with it, and she gets lots of discrimination against her because she also struggled a lot with self-injury and all that, but because I grew up in a very Trump supportive household, it was very difficult. And I, for one, had to kind of support because that's all I could do in that moment. And I've always been there for her as a person. But at the same time, I've always been worried about, I told her to get the abortion. But at the same time, I believe that this is where it gets iffy. I believe the male should have a perspective in this besides for that case.
Yeah, that is an interesting perspective. So you don't think that abortion should be banned, you just think that the man should have a say.
Agreed, if it's not like complete
unless it's rape. Well, I mean, let's first explore the reasons why. Why should the man have a say?
Well, in most teenagers' years, it's very close that someone will get pregnant in that. And I believe that the male should have a say. I, for one, also got pregnant when I was 17.
But why do you think the man should have a say? I guess what I'm asking is, why do you think that?
Why do I think that it's wrong?
No, why do you think that a man should have a say?
Because they helped conceive it.
Okay, just like construction workers help build this condo, but a construction worker can't just come in through my front door because the contractual obligation and the scope of work was specifically for building the condo, not living in it. Very similar to the scope of work for sex is sex, and sex, when consensual, it does not imply consent for the man to have control over the woman's body for the next 9 months. I get that it's unfair to the man, but reality is unfair, and I think the men got to suck it up. If pregnancy just occurred in a floating orb connected to both the man's body and the woman's body simultaneously, well, then the man would have a 50% say, just like the woman. But guess what? The pregnancy only occurs in the body of the woman, okay, in their uterus. And in giving the man any control or say so over the life of his offspring, the fetus, you are in turn necessarily giving the man some level of control or say so over the woman's uterus and the woman's body as a whole. All right? And I'm just not on board with that. I think, right, that the woman's right to bodily autonomy triumphs the man's desire to control her body. And I think that's common sense.
I actually, now that I think of it like that, I do agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's like other good ways to think about it too. I want to add one more thing on here. When you consent to sex, what are you consenting to?
I couldn't tell you on the spot. I'm sorry. I'm very nervous. I've never done stuff like this before.
It's okay. You're consenting to the action of sex, to the action of intercourse, okay? When I'm consenting to sex, I'm consenting to that one singular engagement. And by the way, that consent can be withdrawn at any point. Okay? Consent has to be enthusiastic and ongoing and context specific. But the moment you argue that the man will have control over that fetus, given that the natural process of conception occurs and causes that fetus into existence, point number one, you're now arguing that that consent cannot be withdrawn for the next 9 months. And point number two, you're basically ensuring that men and women would stop having sex if consent to sex also meant consent to possibly giving the man control over your body for the next 9 months.
That's a very good point. I actually may change my views upon that, but I just want to say I do really respect you as a person, as does my sister. She watches you every night. She rants about you a lot. It's very entertaining because she always fills me in, and I really respect you, and I really do appreciate you, and showing me how you see that, and I actually do appreciate that a lot.
Good. Well, please give your best to my sister, all right? Wait, please give my best to your sister. Sorry, I got it backwards. Please give my best to your sister, all right?
Have a good night.
Yeah, you as well, Zaylee. All right, we're going to go to get that next guest loaded up into the stream. Your best to my sister. Fuck, dude. Selling out here. My best to your sister. Jesus Christ. What a... Moving on to the next guest. Zaylee, I appreciate you so much for joining up, and thank you for having that conversation with me. I'm happy that I could change your mind. What's going on? Do you support Trump?
Yeah.
Boo! Oh my God, Ryan, I'm going to puke in my mouth. I'm just kidding.
I wanted to talk about, there was a few days ago when I was watching one of the lives, and you were going through talking about the sexual exploitation stuff with the Miss Teen USA stuff. And I wanted to talk about it because I don't think some of the facts were right, but I'm open to, like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm open to that.
Let's see if I could change your mind here. How about this? Before we hop into the debate, do you mind if I thank a couple people?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. Vanessa, appreciate you so much for the $25 over on Venmo. It's good to see you again, Vanessa. You're also always in here. Vanessa with the $25 says thanks for all that you do. Love you too, Vanessa. Thank you for all that you do. You're definitely not a first-time donor. Thank you so much for your kindness. Alan, appreciate you for that $1. And Maya, thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo, who says, I hope your pillow stays cold at night. Oh, I really appreciate you so much for your kindness, Maya. My pillow will definitely be chilly this evening because I'm going to be able to go and get the nicest pillow ever with that $20. Thank you so much. Madeline, thank you so much for the $5 over on Venmo. Appreciate you. Cecilia, thank you for the $1 over on PayPal and over on Super Chat. I think that we're all caught up. If you're watching and you're like, hey, I like this Dean guy, I like what he does, and you want to support what I do and allow me to continue to do this for 4 hours, 7 days a week, 4 weeks a month, 12 months a year, you can find the V and the P, the short for the Venmo and the PayPal, and the link tree in my bio on TikTok right there, or in the pinned message over in that YT stream. Appreciate you guys so much for all your kindness tonight. Take it away.
Hey, man. So when we were going through talking about, and it sounded like the dude had like zero clue about, I guess, how like the law works at all. But when you were going through talking about, you mentioned that there were like multiple women who had come forward, but I looked into it and I could only find that there was one person who came forward with their name, and then a few others who had like, I guess there was some that were like anonymous reporting. But when you were going through talking about like what qualifies as sexual exploitation, I thought that it was a little, I guess, frustrating on my end, because from what I understood, in order for there to be a crime committed, there's elements of the crime, right? And you have to satisfy the elements for the crime to hold up in court, whether it be jury, judge, whatever. But when I was going through like a lot of those scenarios, him being the, forgetting the word right now, the executive producer, I think it was, of the pageant, from what I understood, because of the nature of pageants and shows and that kind of stuff, especially when his daughter was the co-host, or one of the co-hosts at the time, from what I understood, he had what some fashions would, in some fashion, would be called like implied consent, or I guess implied consent, walking around backstage. But another thing that I saw that was interesting was that
as somebody who was filmed on a movie, it's filmed on a movie. It's a documentary that's coming out next year, and that movie had an executive producer that does not give implied consent to the executive producer to look at me anywhere besides the times and the places that I'm filming for that movie, which would be on stage in front of the camera with a lapel mic on my shirt. Okay. It does not give implied consent to that executive producer to then follow me back stage into a bathroom where I'm taking a pee-pee. Okay. No.
So, but that would be a different scenario.
And the same thing is true for beauty pageants. He's the executive producer of the what?
Of the show, which the pageant is the show.
Of the show. And on that show, what are they doing? They're going to be having women come out on stage wearing dresses to then be judged by a panel in front of a live audience in front of cameras too, correct?
Yeah, you're right.
A part of that show is not them getting ready for it backstage ahead of time where they're taking their clothes off and getting naked to put their new dresses on.
I got you. I understand that. So moving from that, I get where you're coming from that. But you used the example of if you were to go in the bathroom and somebody was to implicitly look at you going to the bathroom on purpose. But I think that especially in sexual crimes, the burden to prove it is much more high due to when there's mistake, when something's happened, maybe an isolated incident that doesn't involve actual sexual gratification is not the final goal. I think that a couple of the witnesses who had come out from those pageants had said that they had never remembered anything like that happening. And I don't want to I think it's a horrible thing to discredit women for their allegations, but I think that it's also damaging to, I guess, look at the facts of a case like that. And because he's such a well-known public figure, and I at the moment, I don't really feel like getting into like a lot of the other things, because I think that he's done some bad things and done some good things. But I think that it's a very high burden to, I guess, like compare what happened to in that room or in what we don't really know the full facts of, and like implicate that he is guilty until proven innocent, when in the US justice system the exact opposite like exists.
Okay. Yeah, I got quite a bit to respond to here. So one comment that you made was that in order for sexual exploitation to be sexual exploitation, it doesn't just have to include unconsensual sexual conduct, but more so unconsensual sexual conduct in the furtherance of sexual gratification. Completely disagree. Right. Okay, right? Unconsensual sexual conduct on its own is enough, not of what it's in the furtherance of, because many men will grape women, many men will abuse women, many men will exploit women, not necessarily for sexual exploitation, but rather for an exertion of power and control. Why do you think men will grape dead animals? Most of the time, it's not because they're attracted to the carcass of the dead dog, but rather it's just a pure exertion of power and control over what used to be an animate life. Right?
Wait. Right. So, you were saying that he was guilty of sexual exploitation. Yes. In order for there to be sexual exploitation satisfied, there has to be sexual intent of why he's doing the action.
No, I disagree. I just think there has to be unconsensual sexual
quite
conduct.
Literally, however, if you disagree or you don't disagree, the facts are that you are saying that a crime that is based off of elements that are laid out in the United States with precedent, you are saying that that precedent does not matter, that the elements of the crime do not matter. You can't just simply craft your own idea of what these massive allegations mean without looking at what the actual law is.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Whether
So
he broke
the
a
first
different
50
law is different. But you were saying
50%
sexual exploitation.
The first 50% of what you said is absolutely true. You're saying that the elements of the crime on paper and legal code don't matter? Yeah, I fucking am, because the law doesn't tell us what to think. We tell the law what to think. And if you're going to sit here and tell me that you base your definitions of what is and is not sexual violence predicated off what the law does or does not say, I could drill you with a very simple question. Let me drill you with a very simple question to demonstrate.
It also goes the exact same way to discredit women from getting actual justice, because it's mortifying that you are saying to any woman watching this that hasn't come forward with an allegation, which she 100% should, but she should seek the proper avenue in the law to do that.
Let me know when I can finish my question. Because I was in the middle of asking you a question and you interrupted me.
Okay, well, if those girls listened to you and they filed for sexual exploitation, they would fail under the law. It's about citizens.
And if those girls listen to you, they wouldn't even think that they're a victim in the first place.
No, they should.
I think that we need to. Charges. I think that we need to, try to consolidate this down to what the base plate of facts are. So I was in the middle of a sentence before you very rudely interrupted me, and quite frankly, I would like to finish that sentence. Okay? Because you told us that the law tells us what is right and wrong. The law tells us what is sexual violence and what is not sexual violence. We don't tell the law that. The law tells us that. And what you think is different from the law doesn't matter. So let me ask you a very simple question. How many enslaved individuals in this country's history were a victim of rape? Was it more than 0?
Dean, I'm sure that it was millions. That was a horrible time in the United States. However, to your point, you are bringing up an impossible hypothetical wherein you are relying.
This is reality. I'm not giving you a hypothetical.
No. What you call this is when you are presenting a hypothetical to the current day facts.
So what
I'm not presenting in the past, there was sexual violence against slaves.
I'm not giving you a hypothetical. If you would let me finish, you would understand how I'm not giving you a hypothetical. So a hypothetical would be a thought experiment about what could possibly occur. Everything that I'm about to tell you is what has occurred. So I asked you, how many individuals in American history that were enslaved were a victim of rape? Was it more than 0? By the way, that was a question. Like the fuck? That was a question about history. I don't think that a question about history can be hypothetical. Can you just concede that real quick? Can you concede that a question about history is not a hypothetical?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, so then when you accuse me of using hypothetical, you were wrong, right?
You're trying to compare the current situation
just answer my question.
To a time period in the United States.
That would be an analogy, not a hypothetical. Concede that it wasn't hypothetical, then I'll continue.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Analogy.
Good. Thank you so much. So now that we've determined that there was more than 0 enslaved individuals in American history that were a victim of rape, well, guess what? At that point in American history, the law did not define rape to include them. A slave owner could do whatever he wanted to an enslaved individual because legally speaking, they were his property. Okay? Legally speaking, a slave owner could force themselves in about 1 million ways on that enslaved individual. And according to the law, that enslaved individual was never legally considered a victim of rape. The legal definition of rape did not include them. Therefore, if we were to trust you, if we were to believe you, and we were to take you for your word and act like you won the debate, all of a sudden in accordance with your own line of thought, because we don't tell the law what is right and wrong. The law tells us what is right and wrong. If we disagree with the law, then we're arbitrary, subjective assholes that don't know what we're talking about. Well, then anybody who would deny that there was at least a single enslaved individual raped in American history is an arbitrary, subjective asshole that doesn't know what they're talking about, and they have no fucking clue because they're disagreeing with the objective legal precedent that is always right in accordance with your position. And same thing with wives to their husbands before the 1980s, by the way. Before 1982, there was only 2 out of our 50 states that legally defined rape to include a man forcing himself on his wife in the context of marriage. In the 1970s, in 48 of our 50 states, if a man raped his wife, the law would tell you it wasn't rape. So who are we supposed to trust here? Me, who's like, hey, we tell the law what to think and feel, we tell the law what's right and wrong, and we update the law when the law gets it wrong? Or are we going to listen to you who's like, well, the law is the objective standard. If anybody that disagrees with the objective standard of the law is just automatically wrong, it doesn't fulfill the objective objective criteria as laid out by the legislation. Therefore, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, would you tell a wife that got raped by her husband in the 1970s
No.
that she's fucking insane for
Absolutely
thinking
not.
that her husband raped her, even because the legislation did not define her as a victim of rape? And if the answer to that question was absolutely not, then you're absolutely not going to sit here and tell me that even if Donald Trump only sexually exploited them in the furtherance of power and control, that they weren't victims of sexual violence and sexual exploitation, because the law might say something else. Go ahead and concede, buddy, because let me tell you, I'm getting sick and tired of all the sick, dark, and twisted men coming up in this live trying to find a way to invalidate the victims of an admitted sexual exploiter. I'm getting sick and tired of people coming up in this space and telling me that when a man unconsensually looks at the naked body of a little girl to get off, that all of a sudden they're not a victim and he's not the perpetuator. I've had too many of these conversations where you will exhaust every single brain cell that you could possibly have in any world ever, right? Isolated and focused on achieving the objective and goal of trying to discredit the testimony of victims, corroborating the admission of guilt from the perpetuator of this sexual violence. So go ahead, the mic is yours, but what you're not going to do is tell me that I cannot call a man abusing his position of power over the position of vulnerability of one else in the furtherance of unconsensual conduct a sexual exploiter.
Okay, sorry for interrupting you beforehand, but I was just going to go through and respond to a few things. So I think that you're misunderstanding me. In the past, yes, there was a travesty of periods in the United States where oppressed people, specifically in slavery, one of the worst things that's ever happened to a lot of people who came from other countries and suffered in this country. However, in all of these situations that you brought up, women in a certain time period and in slavery, at the time, you're right, there were not laws to protect these people, and they didn't have the ability to find someone who could represent them. However, in the current day and age that we are in, it is important that women know that there are legal avenues, even if they're not talked about on a TikTok live in the correct terms of sexual exploitation, that there are legal avenues for them to pursue to get justice if a wrong is done against them. But you cannot sit here and misdefine how they would seek justice in the court by saying, oh, it was sexual exploitation, he's guilty, game over. Because there's a huge weight on somebody like you when you have the following that you have to educate people on the correct paths to seek justice. Because these women, if something was done wrong to these women in any sense, in any woman in my family, any woman that I know, I would want them to seek justice. However, I'm not going to tell them a crime that they should go and seek that is not a great avenue for them to pursue. But in this day and age, unlike in the times of slavery or in the 80s, there are legal avenues, but it's important that we aren't concluding that just because one thing happened, it would satisfy the elements of a crime. That's more the lane that I was going down, because I think that there has to be a weight to the words in which, like, you accuse somebody and you say that they're guilty of a crime, especially if the internet, with the access to the internet that we have, we can easily look up everything that is online. And I think that it's important that women know that there are legal avenues, but you have to be able to understand that you can't just throw, in this situation, you just threw sexual exploitation out there. And I don't think that legally that is the case. However, you said that we can tell the law what we want the law to be, but the facts are that there are laws to protect these women, and that's what we should be advocating for. Education on what you can pursue if God forbid something bad did happen to you. But I think it's dangerous for us to be throwing out like verdicts on a TikTok live, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be a dick.
You're a disingenuous hack. Define sexual exploitation.
I would have to look it up online, but I know that there's multiple.
Do it. Define.
I know that there's multiple layers to it.
I'm hard pressing you for a definition of sexual exploitation.
Okay, fine. I will give you
right now.
the crucial element of sexual exploitation is that it is done for the furtherance of sexual gratification.
I want the full definition of sexual exploitation.
Okay, I mean, do you? But here's the actually
define sexual exploitation, please.
When you're taking advantage of a group of people or one person, one or multiple people to further sexual gratification with the intent to further sexual gratification in a sexual manner.
And where in the U.S. code can I find that definition?
You can find that in the U.S. law precedent.
I know.
What
was I just asking? I was asking you where in the U.S. code can I find that definition?
It probably will be in something along the lines of the USC 28. I don't know what section it would be.
USC
but I'm
28.
Sure.
So where in USC 28 can I find this?
Okay, this is exactly what I'm telling you. You should not be doing. I shouldn't be throwing out a definition of it. You shouldn't be throwing out a definition of it.
Wait.
We should look what the precedent.
So when we're on TikTok, we can't talk about sexual exploitation. The conclusion of your argument is, although my favorite president is a sexual exploiter, you can't say that on here unless you could give me a definition of sexual exploitation. Look it up, buddy. You have an infinite amount of knowledge in front of you, in front of your eyes. It's called your phone with Google. Feel free to go to Google and give me a definition of sexual exploitation. I just yap is everything I heard from you when I let you speak uninterrupted for 3 minutes. And I don't know. It seemed like a weave, like what Trump does. You're like, Dean, it is bad for you to say that when Donald Trump admitted to sexually exploiting these women and girls, that makes him a sexual exploiter. What we should be doing is talking about the available legal avenues that victims can take to prove it. Well, when a woman did take one of those available legal avenues, her name's E. Jean Carroll, by the way, and she was able to prove it, when she was able to prove that Donald Trump raped her in a civil court of law in 2023, you still voted for him to become president. So don't sit here and act like you care about those victims. If you're going to make one of those victims rapists, the most powerful man alive. Now, I just have so many things to add on here. Let's keep it simple. Let's go back to the original question. What is the definition of sexual exploitation?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, he's looking for it. While you're looking for it, I'm going to thank a couple people here. Mark, appreciate you for the $5 over on Venmo. Lindsay, thank you for the $5. Who says, why does it matter whether what he did was quote unquote illegal crime? What he did was morally wrong. Yeah, if sexual exploitation was legal, then what he did was definitely morally wrong. Same thing goes for child marriage in 38 out of over 50 states. Hopefully we should be able to understand that argument. Ashley, thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo. Let's show some love to Ashley down below in that chat. Who says, I love it when you put these assets in their place. Tell this cuck that women don't need him to explain how we should handle being fucking raped. Yeah, honestly, I think that the last person who should be explaining that is a Trump supporter, honestly. Thank you for the $20. And then Lindsay, thank you for the $10 on Venmo, who says, I'm absolutely enraged that this man wants to speak on behalf of women by saying that you are misleading us. How dare he try to act? And the rest of the message cut off. But just know that I fucking love your energy in the end. This guy's a dick. Kirsten, thank you so much for the $5 over on Venmo, who says, victims don't decide charges. The DA does. Guest's point is pointless and he doesn't know anything. Yeah, good fucking point, Kirsten. You're actually right. The DA does decide the charge based upon the description of what occurred by the victim. Danielle, thank you for the $5, who says leering for the purpose of sexual arousal is sexual intent. Yeah. Oh, good point. Thank you for the $5, Daniel. Marianne, thank you for the $25, who says here's another $25 for speaking about how disgustingly these guys think about women and girls. Thank you. Well, thank you for the $25, Marianne. Show some love to Marianne down below. As well as Mohammed, thank you for the $25, who says you're awesome. Keep kicking ass. Free Palestine. Free Palestine, my friend. Thank you for the $25. Show some love to Mohammed down below in that chat. Stephanie, thank you so much for the $5 over on Venmo. Greta, thank you for the $15, who says thank you for doing what you do. Well, thank you so much for the love, Greta. Mary, thank you for the $20, who says, I'm behind on the lives, but my God, how powerful Kia's story was. Such a testament to your amazing reach, team. Keep it up. Yeah, man, that one's going to stick with me for a while. Thank you for the $20, Mary. And then Kelly, thank you for the $25. I'm going to go to keep your message to myself, but just know that I agree with you. Thank you so much for the love, Kelly. Please show some love to Kelly. That is Kellie down below in that chat. Same thing with Tamika for the $10, who says, for being a Gen Z who knows his shit. Thank you, Tamika. And then Amy, thank you for the $2 over on PayPal. Christine, appreciate you for the $5 over on PayPal. And then Alan, thank you for the $10 over on PayPal. And then Gina, thank you for the $5 over on Venmo. And Fasha, thank you so much for the $30 over on Venmo. I'm just going to call you F. Thank you for the $30. Let's get fun. Let's get 300 FWs. F with a $30 says, hey, Dean, I hope you're doing well. Today was my birthday and I just got paid, so I thought I'd share some extra. I'd share some of the leftover to show some love and support. Well, thank you so much and happy fucking birthday. Happy birthday. I hope that you're having a great day. I hope that you're living it up. Thank you so much for the $30. And everybody, just genuinely thank you guys so much for all of the support. We have 3 people over in Super Chat to thank. Mary, thank you for the $10. She says, love you, Dean. Love you too, Mary. Thank you for being here. Mech, thank you for the $5 over on YouTube Super Chat, who says, I'll tell you what, this current debate is a gym. Guest is coherent, and it's nice to see you crank those gears, Dean. Keep doing the great work. Appreciate you for that love. And then thank you for the $5 over on Super Chat. Random person. Okay. All right. We're all done thanking the donors. Once again, I really appreciate you guys so much for the love. I mean, we have a couple new ones that just came through, like Patsy with a $30 on Venmo. Patsy with a $30 says, keep on doing what you're doing. Patsy, I fucking love you. You're here every day. Show some love to Queen Patsy in that chat. Same thing with Nina. Thank you for the $25, who says, as an immigration expert and advocate, thank you for standing up for immigrants every day. Listen, man, we stand against the tyranny, okay? And right now, immigrants are facing a lot of it. Thank you for the $25, Nina. And then Mary left no message over on PayPal, but did donate $10. Thank you, Mary, Nina, and Patsy. So were you able to get that definition of sexual exploitation?
Yeah, man. I'll keep it brief. You good? Ready?
Yeah. Make sure to give your source too.
Yeah. So the federal crime USC section 2251. I think it's 18 USC section 2020 22251. All right. Cool. So basically, the things that I want to point out to you is that you are on here representing a lot of Democrats around the country with 14,000 people viewing it, about 1,400,000 likes today.
We also have 5.2 thousand people on YouTube.
Oh, nice. So that means that you do have a higher standard than a lot of people, and people look at what you say. And I want you to know that sexual exploitation specifically involves the use, persuasion, inducement, enticement, or coercion, meaning the defendant caused or encouraged the minor to engage in sexual activity. He had the intent to photograph, record, live stream, or otherwise capture sexual conduct. It includes intercourse, masturbation, sadistic acts, etc. However, this is not even close to what happened in the Trump case. You are talking about voyeurism, which is a completely different topic, where somebody would be knowingly viewing another person without their knowledge or consent when they happen to be not clothed. And I think that it's really damaging that you are coming on here talking about sexual exploitation, which is used in a completely different field, in a completely different set of circumstances than what's on here, because you have a responsibility to know the difference between crimes.
Okay. So can you please define sexual exploitation?
So I already did that. In the law,
so you started to, but then you started like jumping around, and then you kind of weaved in a second allegation that I'm terrible and it's not exploitation, it's voyeurism. So please, just give us nothing more, nothing less, just the definition of sexual exploitation.
Yes, so I did in the U.S. law with precedent. If you knew about the law, you would know that you define a crime with the elements that are present within the crime.
Okay.
That is how you define
exploitation.
Jesus Christ, dude. I mean, I already did. It's the elements.
So like I said, I'll repeat why I'm asking you to repeat the definition. You started to define it. You started to say any person who uses, employs, persuades, induces, entices, so on and so forth. Then you started like jumping around. And then like you kind of cut yourself off midway through, then went on like a different allegation that like I'm terrible because I'm calling it sexual exploitation. We don't want anything more.
I don't think you're terrible.
Okay. Can anybody in the chat repeat his quote unquote definition of sexual exploitation? Let's see.
Dude, I'm confused.
Can anybody in the chat repeat the quote unquote definition that he gave of sexual exploitation? No. Me neither. That's why I'm asking. Okay? So I'm not doing anything wrong here. I can't repeat your definition of sexual exploitation. Nobody in the chat can. So just give your no, I want you to tell me what your definition of sexual exploitation is. Come on. Okay. Define it.
Okay, I'm just going to restart what I said.
Perfect.
So a person is guilty of sexual exploitation when, and then you talk about the elements, the use of persuasion, inducement, enticement, or corrosion. That is 1 out of 5 of the things that must be present. The next is purpose of producing a visual depiction, such as intent to photograph, record, live stream, otherwise capture sex.
Why are you skipping around?
What do you mean?
This whole time I've had the definition that you're reading off on the right side of my computer screen. The reason why I didn't tell you this was to watch you change the definition to fit your argument from what the law says. When this whole time your argument has been, if the law doesn't say it to a T, then it can't possibly be true. So what you just did is you skipped over the fact that you're specifically given a definition of 8 USC Code 2251, which would be the sexual exploitation of children. So you started by saying that it would include the components of persuasion and inducing somebody, enticing somebody, or coercing somebody. And then you went on to saying the purpose of producing any visual depiction of such conduct. Well, what you missed there was the middle part, where it says the definition of sexual exploitation of children is any person who employs, uses, persuades, induces, entices, or coerces any minor to engage in, or who has a minor assist any other person to engage in, or who transports any minor in or affecting interstate or foreign commerce in any territory or possession of the United States with the intent that such minor engage in any sexual explicit conduct for the purpose of producing any visual depiction of said conduct for the purpose of transmitting a live visual depiction of such conduct shall be punished as provided under subsection E if such person knows or has reasons to know that such a visual depiction will be transported or transmitted using any means or facility of interstate or foreign commerce or in affecting interstate or foreign commerce or mailed, that if this visual depiction was produced or transmitted using materials that have been mailed, shipped, or transported in or affecting interstate foreign commerce by any means, including by computer, or if such visual depiction has been already transported or transmitted using any means or facility of interstate or foreign commerce, or in or affecting interstate or foreign commerce or mailed. That is your definition of sexual exploitation. I don't even think that I need to verbally state this. I don't think that I need to verbally state this. That's fucking crazy. Okay? So I don't really think that every single time you hear about a man raping a woman, sexually exploiting somebody, so on and so forth, your first thought is to think, well, what is that 30 fucking sentence paragraph I read off of the federal law's website, a website telling me federal law the other day. And when you hear about like a man sexually exploiting a woman or a child, I bet your first thought isn't, well, were they using any means of foreign or interstate transport through America to mail, ship, or post through a computer a visual depiction of said sexual exploitation in accordance with 18 USC Code 2251? Like, that's obviously unruly. And this is exactly why earlier I said that something can be sexual exploitation and the law could disagree, right? Like in states where child marriage is illegal, that's sexual exploitation. The law wouldn't call it that though. And B, right? Seemingly like this isn't really giving us a definition of sexual exploitation. It's telling us the specific parameters that ought be met in order for a charge to be pursued under sexual exploitation of children per 8 USC Code 2251. And if the specific parameters aren't met, then the prosecutor would pursue another charge. Like think about it this way. Can you agree that the lengthy description of what sexual exploitation of children is per 8 USC Code would include the distribution of visual material of said sexual exploitation?
Yeah, it says that.
So are you arguing if a man forces a minor to engage in sexual conduct but does not record it, that therefore under your definition it's not sexual exploitation?
Oh my God, dude.
Answer the question.
Don't
give me the you. Answer the question.
No.
If a man forces a minor to engage in sexual conduct but doesn't record it, is it still sexual exploitation?
That would be rape. That would be sexual battery. That would be sexual assault. He would be charged
Would it be sexual exploitation?
Sexual exploitation is when you're distributing stuff like videos, photos, that kind of stuff. You are using the wrong.
So I just want to clarify. If a man were to force a minor to engage in, let's see here, any sexually explicit conduct, but it was not for the purpose of producing any visual depiction of said conduct, like taking a video, would it still be sexual exploitation?
Under the United States law,
I'm asking you.
Sex.
I'm asking you.
What do you mean? Do
you consider it to be sexual exploitation?
But Grant, what I'm saying is you can't tell people that they can make up their own definitions of law, because then they will not go on the right avenue to seek legal justice.
Okay, got it. So here's the next question. Earlier, remember when you said that there were millions of enslaved individuals in America during American slavery that were raped? In accordance with what law?
What do you mean?
What law that existed at the time said that they were victims of rape?
No, I said that earlier. I already addressed this point. That was a horrible travesty in the United States.
But I thought that you can't make up your own definitions of rape.
But unfortunately, at the time, there was no charge that engrouped.
So at the time, was it rape?
Yes. And so
wait, even though it wasn't legally defined as such?
Okay.
So you can make up your own definitions?
But what happened in this case scenario?
Answer my question. Answer my question. So you can make up your own definitions.
Okay, at time that is called precedent when a court makes a new definition. But what you are not.
So you're retroactively applying the new definition to what happened then?
Okay, no, that's what you're attempting to do.
No, I'm asking you questions. Were they raped, and if so, in accordance with what law? Since apparently you can't make your own definition up.
Okay, let me talk, and I'm going to explain it.
Yeah.
They were raped. Yes, that is 100%, and there was wrongs done to millions.
In accordance with what law, or are you making that definition up on your own?
Listen, I'm about to get there.
Good.
In accordance with the laws that we have since made, because at the time there was no laws that included that class of person. However, in this current day and age, what the conduct that you're describing is not sexual exploitation.
No, I'm not ready to talk about sexual exploitation yet. We're still talking about the rape of enslaved individuals. Not yet. So you just said that you're saying that it's rape. You're saying that it was rape because of the new laws that exist now. So are you arguing before these new laws were created that it was not rape? Answer that question. Don't run away. Oh my God, I'm going to hold you. So before those new laws were created, it was still rape. Therefore, the law didn't make it rape.
Wait. I think you're missing what I'm saying.
Oh my God. I think you're missing the slam dunk that I just got. Do you want me to describe it? I could describe it. Allow me to describe it. Allow me to describe the slam dunk. So you told us that we have to operate off of the definition of like what sexual violence is that the law would offer to us. We can't just come up with our own definitions. So the way that I absolutely slam dunked on your bitch ass and ran you in a circle, put you in the full box was by bringing up the fact that you're not insane and you can agree that enslaved individuals during American slavery were victims of rape, even though there wasn't a single law at the time that defined them as a victim of rape. And then you tried to wiggle your way out of it. You said, well, the reason I consider them victims of rape is because we have laws now. And in accordance with the laws that we have now, it would retroactively define them as victims of rape. Well, the full box, we're almost there. The full box comes in to the fact that I asked you, before these new laws that started considering them legal victims of rape were implemented, were they still victims of rape? And you said yes. Okay, so according to you, you cannot make up your own definition of what rape is or isn't, and you have to look towards what the law says. But simultaneously, according to you, even when the law said they weren't victims of rape, they were still victims of rape. That, sir, is an explicit contradiction.
Hold on.
I'll hold on.
I do not think that is a contradiction because of this. And just let me explain what I'm saying. At that time, there were no charges for them to pursue because the conduct that was involved specifically with their class of people was not defined in the laws. in this current day and age, there is almost a law or a charge for every act of sexual violence that can occur. You are classifying conduct that falls within a different law, such as voyeurism, or different charges that women should be
you
aware
didn't
of.
address the slam dunk. The slam dunk is that you said that they were still victims of rape before these new laws existed.
Yes.
Why
yes.
were? Why, so answer this question. Answer this question. Answer this question. Why were they victims of rape before this new law existed?
No,
By the way, I agree that
no.
they were, but I need you to explicitly answer this question for me to slam dunk your ass. Why do you consider them to be victims of rape before the new law existed that legally classified them as victims of rape?
Dude, they were always, of course, the most, all of that time and throughout history, until there is a law that I guess overviews what certain kinds of conduct towards certain kinds of people were. There were. I'm literally answering it, but you're not listening.
Get there faster, boy.
All right, weird. All right, dude. But
I meant to say little bro, by the way.
All right.
Little boy.
Anyways.
I don't like to say boy. That kind of sounds like I meant to say little boy.
All right, you're good. But what I'm saying is, at that time, there weren't laws for them to pursue. Because of their class, there wasn't laws applicable to them, and we all know that was wrong. But this day and age, there are avenues for almost every kind of sexual conduct where you can pursue something. My argument is that you are classifying conduct that is supposed to be a different crime and not educating people on what the actual definition.
Sir, you're just not answering. This is embarrassing for you. Can you repeat the question I asked you?
Yes, you asked if they were still guilty and to address the slam dunk when you said that.
I'm going to repeat the question. Follow me word by word, and then I'm going to have you repeat the question to make sure that we're on the same page. Are you ready?
All right, I'm ready.
Why would you consider them victims of rape before the new laws were implemented that legally classified them as victims of rape?
And the first thing that came out of my mouth, although you might not listen to it, even though you have headphones, is that the conduct, yes, was all the act that was done to them has always been rape.
Why?
However,
why?
What do you mean?
Why has it always been rape?
Okay, the conduct, yes, did.
Why has it always been rape, even before the laws existed? Is it maybe because the laws don't define what rape is and something else does?
Wait, Dean. I think we agree. We agree on this.
Come on. If you're going to argue that it was still rape even before the law defined it as rape, then the law's not defining rape, correct? If it was rape before the law defined it as rape, then ultimately the law's not defining what you think is rape.
Yes.
So if the law is not defining what you think is rape, then why does the law have to define what I think is sexual exploitation? Boom! Fucking idiot, dude. God, your stupidity is jarring, truly. Oh God. Hey guys, everyone listen to the next 5-minute rant where he will not respond to or touch on anything I've said in the last 95 seconds. Just to repeat what he's not going to respond to. He's not going to respond to the fact that he said what happened to them was rape before it was legally classified as rape. Therefore, what he thinks is rape is not defined by the law, leaving the remaining question. If your definition of rape isn't defined by the law, then why does my definition of sexual exploitation have to be defined by the law? And he's going to ignore that, everybody. He's gonna yap and yap. He's gonna ignore the shit out of it.
I'm gonna directly say it, but you're probably gonna mute me again when you figure out that you're wrong. You cannot define sexual exploitation with these other things because the conduct that you are saying happened falls into another law that is applicable, is valid, and you can't just say one thing is sexual exploitation because it is dangerous for women to pursue the wrong charges
He's doing
or
exactly
men.
what I said he was gonna do. Guy. The women don't pursue the charge. The women give the testimony of the crime that happened to them, and then the DA pursues the charge. The prosecutor pursues the charge. Fucking hell. Holy shit. I'm sorry. Feel free to turn back on your mic. When a woman is raped, okay? When a woman is sexually exploited, what happens to them is they go to the cops, they give a report, the cops investigate. When they find enough evidence to press charges are pressed, then the DA's office of whatever city you live in pursues said charge. Okay? The cops determine the charge. The prosecutor's office determines the charge, right? Not the woman.
Dude, wait. The only time that you have talked about Trump being charged with something, you are aware what the process of pleading and pretrial is, where you have to draft a complaint and in the complaint, you can look up the FRCPs, and in civil court, you have to go through the process of you and a lawyer. You draft the complaint under Rule 8A, I think it is, and the pleadings are under Rule 7A. You can go into discovery. You can use discovery tools. You are allowed to pursue your own charges. Women are not held to the will of the DA. You're allowed to work with a lawyer and pursue charges and you at any time can choose to continue in trial or back out. You can amend your complaint. You're not barred. Women have a voice besides the DA of a state. It's important that they know that.
In civil courts.
Okay, yeah, in civil courts, and most of the time, civil action is.
Thank you so much. So when civil action is pursued, that is pursuant to a defendant and their lawyer, right? When criminal action is pursued, that's going to be pursuant to the state prosecutor's office. The prosecutor makes a final decision. Criminal charges. Holy shit! You're clearly not knowledgeable enough to even have this conversation.
Well, I think that the problem is that I have an inherent problem with you misdefining these.
Yeah, I have an inherent problem with shitty men like you just trying to come up with new ways to defend like rapists. I have a problem with shitty men like you trying to come up with new ways to defend the perpetuators of sexual violence. So let me just run you through something real quick. Okay, I played this clip of Donald Trump boasting about sexually exploiting women and girls, saying that he'd look at them while they're naked. He'd go, hey, they look big, great, the boobs are big, whatever the fuck, talking about kids and women, okay, unconsensual sexual conduct. Okay, right, like, the defense of a lot of Trump supporters that came before you was, oh, you may be joking. Okay, but yeah, I've honed in my argument to refute the idea that Donald Trump was joking in that clip because he said that he did it. Corroboration of victim testimony, we lit. Okay, that argument's cooked. Then the next argument was like, oh, maybe they weren't naked, and when he said they had no clothes on, he didn't mean to say that, or something along those lines. Just okay, that sounds fucking stupid. Whoever's making that argument, zero brain cells, they don't look good. But now you're trying to come up with a new argument. You're like, legally, I don't think this fits the definition of sexual exploitation. Therefore, it's not sexual exploitation. And then when Dean comes along, fucking sandwiches that argument too. Legally, what happened to enslaved individuals in American history was never considered rape because they weren't included within the legal definition. Therefore, they were raped. Okay, obviously, no sane human will ever say that. You can't say that. It'd make you look like fucking Hitler, right? Therefore, you're going to accept my logic when it's convenient to you not looking like Hitler. You're going to say, yeah, Dean, those women, they were raped. Even though I understand that the law did not define what happened to them as rape at the time, they were still raped. Even though I understand that the law wasn't revised to include, right, these women, right, as victims of rape until hundreds of years later, even before that law was revised, they were still victims of rape. Yeah, Dean, I understand. Thank you. That understanding is an assumption of my argument in this debate. Okay, it's a rejection of your argument, an assumption of mine. But then as soon as it's no longer convenient, okay, because you no longer look like Hitler, okay, you're no longer going to have to sit here and argue that there was not a single enslaved individual that was ever raped. You then re-deny my logic and then reassume your own position. You look fucking silly. You are an excuse of a flawed, sick, twisted man, okay? When a man abuses his position of power, okay, by unconsensually barging in to the woman's dressing room of a beauty pageant that he owns, and then he abuses the position of vulnerability that the women and girls in this space are in by unconsensually looking at them while they're naked, including kids, I'm going to say that those women and girls are victims of sexual violence. I'm going to say that those women and girls are victims of sexual exploitation. Okay?
Wait.
Right?
I do agree
these
with
sick
you
pedantics
on that
are fucking nuts.
half. Wait, I agree with you on the first half. You're not listening to me. There definitely is a charge that should be looked into because I agree the situation is fucked up.
Wait, one second. We're not talking about charges. We're just talking about if Trump did it or not.
There does not exist a legal charge.
Sorry, you're repeating the same argument that you've been making this whole time. Ryan, I've already responded to this about 1 billion times over. Why will you not respond to the fact that you are rejecting the logic that you're using right now and you assume my own logic as it related to enslaved individuals in American history? Why are you not responding to the fact that I was able to bring up that this is just another sadistic and twisted way to deny sexual violence? Why are you just repeating the same thing that you've said over and over and over again for the last 40 minutes instead of just trying to further a productive dialogue by engaging in the points that I'm making? I understand that you find yourself in a position that many Trump supporters do, which is losing the fucking debate. Okay? And when Trump supporters find themselves in the position, 25% of them crash the fuck out, 25% of them leave the live, 25% of them just deny reality and try to pivot and move on. But then the other remaining 25% does what you're doing right now, which is just the repetition. Maybe if you repeat it enough times, it'll finally come true. Maybe if you repeat it enough times, I'll finally just kick you because I'm fucking tired. Maybe if you repeat it enough times, I'll get tired of repeating myself too. Right? Come on, dude. Okay? You're stuck in between a rock and a hard place. The rock being truth and the hard place being your deluded fucking mind. All right? And I'm just shining a light on it. So stop torturing me by repeating the same sentence 1 billion times and just legitimately engage in the argument provided. Can we agree that what Donald Trump did to those women and girls was sexual violence?
Sorry, I didn't know how to unmute my mic. See, this is for the first time that I can listen to the words you're saying and say, yes, sexual violence, no, not sexual exploitation.
Would you ever support a president that is guilty of sexual violence?
What? If he's guilty of sexual... Okay, truth be told that there's a whole lot of problems with Trump and all that stuff. I get it. But I think that you are on a dangerous line.
Can you answer my question? Would you ever support a president that is guilty of sexual violence?
I think that sexual violence is inexcusable in a lot of realms. But can you, for 3 seconds, listen to what I'm about to say?
No, because I want you to answer my question.
If a girl was raped,
you're not answering my question. Would you ever support a president that is guilty of sexual violence?
To pursue a charge where she could not do it.
Would you ever support a president that is guilty of sexual violence?
I do not think that the office of the presidency should have somebody like that in it, but I also think that both candidates last election cycle both lacked in a lot of serious ways, and
is the answer to my question a yes or no?
So, I would say no. I don't want to go back and forth, but what I do want to say,
just to clarify, you just said no, therefore you don't support Trump as president.
Hold on. Listen to what I'm about to say, and please just let me say what I'm about to say.
Okay, everybody watch Ryan complicate the shit out of this two-premise argument. Premise number 1, Ryan would never support somebody as president that is guilty of sexual violence. Premise number 2, Donald Trump is guilty of sexual violence. Conclusion, Ryan would never support Trump as president. He is about to convince you that this two-premise argument is somehow more complicated than quantum physics, and he's going to speak for fucking 3.5 minutes, and he's going to wrap in all of these unrelated concepts to this easy-to-follow, simple argument, it's going to be tiring, and it's going to be very embarrassing for him.
No, I'm not going to complicate anything. I think that inherently any sane person in the United States would not support somebody who was found guilty as a matter of law of sexual violence. If there was enough evidence, you would never want somebody like that in a position of power. However, what we were talking about and what you pivoted away from is the fact that you are misdefining a very essential topic in the U.S. law. Right now, if that were to happen, or think about it in the same case scenario of if somebody was assaulted and you were to tell them, I don't know, go get a charge for bad.
Gosh. So you concede. You're no longer a Trump supporter. Right?
Wait, how long have I been mute? Sorry, I forget I have to turn back on my mic.
So you're no longer a Trump supporter, right?
Truth be told, in the beginning of this, I think that both parties are, I mean,
No, we're not talking about the Democrats. We're talking about you and your support for President Trump. You're no longer a Trump supporter, right? Because you just said any sane person, hopefully including you, would never support a president that is guilty of sexual violence. Correct?
Yes, I did say that.
Oh, so you're no longer a Trump supporter.
Well, truth be told, the reason I got into your live
So truth be told, you're no longer a Trump supporter, right, Ryan?
I mean, I kind of just said that to get on here because you're inherently wrong about.
Okay. So yeah, this is the cop out. Your ego's too big to concede. Just say it. Concede. Say, Dean, I concede. You proved me wrong. I no longer support Trump.
The logic that you use, yes, but you didn't just listen this whole time.
Okay. So,
I said that at the beginning.
So you're no longer. I just want to clarify. You are no longer a Trump supporter, right?
No, I'd say in his race for presidency at the time, he was the best of two candidates. However,
wait, no, even at the time of the race, he was still not qualified to serve as the president because at the time of the race, he was still guilty of sexual violence. And you said nobody guilty of sexual violence is qualified to serve as president.
Well, listen, I honestly think that both of them weren't qualified. And in this situation, switch Trump with
what did Kamala Harris do that was disqualifying? You just said that both of them were like disqualified. What has Kamala Harris ever done that would be disqualifying to the same extent as sexual violence? God, gotta fucking train my kids, dude. Answer my question, please.
Yeah. How about the fact that for the last couple months, the most secure office in the entire nation, the office of Joe Biden, the presidency, was being run by a completely unqualified, almost like seriously mentally incapacitated individual, which would qualify under multiple legal analysis and medical analysis to be unfit to run the highest office in the entire country cognitively. How about the fact that
so you're just saying that although Donald Trump, raped people, like I think Kamala Harris was dumb, therefore he was better?
When was Donald Trump convicted of rape?
Well, he was proved to have raped E. Jean Carroll in a court of law in 2023. Thanks.
That is not correct. The 2023 trial that was about defamation having to do with the case that she filed before that, which was a civil case that she filed.
It was about two things. It was about defamation and sexual abuse, which is now, per the legal definition, this is why you're cooked, rape. New York updated their legal definition of rape to include
I know they did,
the court
because they changed
adjudicated
the statute
what
of
happened
limitations.
to E. Jean Carroll as rape. And this happened in 2024 after the case was over. So yeah, Donald Trump is a rapist.
Okay, but for regardless of...
And then your argument was that Kamala Harris was more disqualified because you think that she's dumb?
Wait, no. I honestly could give less of a shit about that. I'm more...
You could give less of a shit that the president's a rapist?
No. Kamala Harris. That whole thing.
Oh, wait. But you told me that even though, right, you said that somebody would be disqualified from serving as president if they're guilty of sexual violence or rape, right? You still think that Donald Trump was a more qualified candidate out of the two. I then asked you, what has Kamala Harris done that is more disqualifying than sexual violence or rape? And then you said, well, she dumb. Is that the argument? Just,
No. I'm not saying that she's dumb. Inherently, she was a very intelligent person. She went to law school.
Okay, so then what has she done that's more disqualifying than rape and sexual violence?
I think that both of the candidates this year, and we face a major issue where people...
Answer my question, please.
Okay, if you want what disqualifies Kamala Harris is the fact that she was, some would say, aiding and abetting. You could say a lot of different things to classify the term as to why she was hiding the fact that the highest security office in the entire United States and arguably the world was being run by somebody who was cognitively insufficient, mentally disabled, mentally incapacitated.
Mentally disabled? What's Biden's mental disability?
How about the fact that everyone who runs for president is old as fucking dust?
Wait.
But not only that, have you not
Wait.
seen
Being old is a mental disability?
Well, I mean, I'd say so, but like not inherently.
You understand?
But, like,
So first of all, wow, fuck you. Okay, that's ageism. That's also just terrible, like ableist rhetoric. But you do understand that today Donald Trump is older than Joe Biden was at the end of his term, right?
And somehow he's still way more cognitively available to make business decisions.
Oh, no fucking
walk
way.
down a flight of steps.
Oh, no fucking way.
Like-
Donald Trump is the most mentally incoherent president that has ever served this country.
Wait, why would I never said that? You just said that.
No, that's what I'm arguing. You're saying, oh, but Trump is more fit than Biden. I'm sorry. I never saw Biden post an AI article online saying that Donald Trump was killed in 2022, then replaced with a robotic clone. Unironically, that's something Trump did about 2.5 months ago. I'm sorry. I never saw Biden, right, deny the outcome of an election, right, and then argue that he rightfully won it for 4 years while trying to steal it in the process. That's something Trump has done. I've never seen Biden say that coal is clean or that humans don't cause climate change and the scientists just don't know. That's something that Biden's done. That's something that Trump's done. I've never seen Biden, right, go on a fucking rant, right, about how windmills cause cancer and washing machines get too much water in China, tariffs in the washing machines and the whatnot. That's something that Trump has done. I've never seen Biden go on a rant about the sharks and batteries in the boat and the water and the sharks in the boat and the water and the sharks and the batteries in the boat and the water. That's something Trump has done. And I've certainly never seen Biden call it literally treasonous to state that he's not in a good mental place of mind. That's actually something that Trump did yesterday. So I just find it really, really crazy that you're trying to sit on this live and arguing that Kamala Harris was guilty of greater crimes for serving as Biden's vice president because you think Biden was mentally incoherent, even though the president you're supporting today is more mentally incoherent than him. And even if that was false, even if it was not true and that Biden truly was mentally incoherent and Donald Trump was in a good state of mind, I would argue that it's just, I don't know, call me crazy, worse to rape a woman, worse to perpetuate sexual violence against kids than it would be to serve as Biden's VP. Just an idea.
Wait, it
throwing
definitely,
that one out there.
is. It definitely is. But I would also say that the argument that we pivoted away from was not about the office of the presidency. It was about if you were telling people the correct crime to fit the circumstances.
Okay.
Because there is under the definition of another
already
crime.
gone through this for 10 billion years. You try to continue to use this to pivot to when you're getting fucking smacked, when you're getting destroyed, when you're getting intellectually slaughtered. I already boxed you on that topic, buddy. I understand that you want to run away. Pack it up. It's embarrassing. Do you want to respond to my argument or not?
Sorry, I keep forgetting I have to unmute the mic thing.
Yeah, that's what I do, and it's just you pivot. I mean, I got to do it for my sanity, man. So do you want to respond to the argument or not?
I would, I do want to respond.
Okay. Do you even remember what the argument is?
You're talking about how Donald Trump was found in the court of New York.
No, that's not what the argument was. Oh my God. So the argument is that Donald Trump is more mentally incoherent than Joe Biden was. And second of all, right, like serving as
100%.
Oh my God. So, wow. Okay. I asked you why Donald Trump was the better pick of the two in the last election, even though you've called him disqualified because he's raped a woman and sexually, committed sexual violence. And then you argued that something that Kamala Harris has done that is worse than what Trump has done is serving as Biden's VP because Biden was mentally incoherent. But now you're arguing that Donald Trump was more mentally incoherent than Biden was.
Wait, okay, just to state what I am arguing, because I just got confused in what you just said I was arguing. My argument is that Donald Trump, yes, is 100% more coherent than Joe Biden was at most of the points in his presidency. However extravagant he is, and how much he talks about weird shit and that kind of stuff, that's one thing. And whether I think his character is 100% fit, that's another thing. And I honestly don't in a lot of places. But I can say that.
I mean, I just gave you an argument against that. It just sounds like you're repeating your original claim. Here's what I really want to respond to very succinctly. What has Kamala Harris done that's worse than Donald Trump raping E. Jean Carroll?
Right, exactly what you just said. I would say that to this point, she has not done anything that in the law would be that bad.
Okay, so then he was worse than her?
I think that in that sense, I mean, yeah.
Okay, so then in what senses was Trump better?
I think that in the senses of a lot of his policies. However, I did not vote for the mistreatment of a lot of
Okay, what's your favorite Trump policy?
Well, for one, the Big Beautiful Bill, although I agree with large parts of it, I think that it does negatively impact federal student loans. So I wouldn't say that I agree with that entire thing. And the Department of Education is another issue.
What's like your just favorite Trump policy?
I'd say
this is hell.
Well, I mean, you have to admit, the Big Beautiful Bill has good parts, and I especially...
Okay, so the Big Beautiful Bill is your favorite Trump policy. I think that the Big Beautiful Bill is totally horseshit. According to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, it reduces the purchasing power of Americans making at $51,000 per year or less on average. Not to mention that it also takes Medicaid away from 10 million low-income Americans when we already have 40 through 60,000 Americans die per year because of lack of access to health care. Defunds Medicaid by $900 billion in the process. Also defunds SNAP benefits by $156 billion in the process. This is going to be kicking 3 million people off in the next 10 years. Overall, a terrible bill. I haven't even mentioned the fact that it is the most expensive bill in the history of this country, with the CBO ranking it at a total of $4.5 trillion worth of debt-related spending over the course of the next 10 years. So, yeah, very, very bad bill.
Well, I would say that there are certain parts of, I mean, just what some of his administration stands for, which in extension is part of Trump's policy. I would say that I do have views that the border does need to be more secure, but I'm not on the all the way side of.
Can you respond to the points that I gave to combat your claim that Donald Trump's that your favorite Trump policy is the Big Beautiful Bill?
Okay, and you can have different opinions on how you think that it's fair for the economy to be impacted by certain legislation, and so can I. And
well, I'm
I
asking
think
you
that,
to tell me why I'm wrong in believing that the Big Beautiful Bill was horseshit because it kicked 10 million low-income Americans off of Medicaid, 3 million low-income Americans off of food stamps, defunded Medicaid by $900 billion, defunded food stamps by $156 billion, and according to the CBPP, is reducing the purchasing power of over 50% of America, while also being the most expensive policy we've ever seen passed through Congress. Please explain to me why I'm wrong in using that set of facts to conclude that the Big Beautiful Bill is terrible.
I think that an important thing to note is that it's okay for me not to think that you're wrong. Nobody's opinions are incorrect. However, I feel differently about those things.
Well, that's what we're here to debate. So why am I wrong in feeling this way, right? Why am I wrong in arguing that because of these facts, right, it's a bad bill?
You're not wrong in feeling the way you're saying, and I'm not wrong in interpreting his policy as being beneficial.
Yes, you are. You are. So you are wrong because the cons outweigh the pros of the Big Beautiful Bill. All the cons that I just gave you. Oh, how about this? I just named all the cons. Now you name the pros.
Okay, I'd say the pros that one of the pros is that a lot of times people who are in the middle class who work very hard are now going to benefit and be keeping more of their money. I think that cost of goods.
I literally just said that it is, according to the CBPP, reducing the purchasing power of everybody making at or under $51,000 per year. People making $51,000 per year are not only in the middle class, but actually making more than the average American.
Okay, and so that same case scenario involving the economy in this bill, can you tell me in an instance where the price of goods has not been going down, or the price of oil for gas to put in our cars? Like, you can agree that there are parts of the economy, and I get that it's a rise and fall in every presidential administration.
So by the way, now you're trying to argue the big beautiful bill reduces inflation. That's simply not true. The big beautiful bill by nature is supposed to be inflationary because it's tax cuts. You give people more money to spend, they're going to increase demand for goods, increasing equilibrium price, not to mention the fact that it adds $4.5 trillion worth of debt-related spending in the next 10 years. No, the big beautiful bill does not slow down inflation. It's actually increasing the price of Medicaid. It's increasing the price of energy too by rolling back a bunch of IRA clean energy credits, reducing the productive capacities of clean energy by 72%, which is now leaving the average American with the expectation of paying an additional $500 per year for energy at home. And then you said, can you name the price, something that's price hasn't gone down? Every single thing sold in the grocery store is more expensive now than it was in January, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics.
What about the eggs,
But
Dean?
I very specifically asked you to name the pros of the Big Beautiful Bill, and it seems like you can't name one. Can you name one singular pro of the Big Beautiful Bill?
I think that it correctly fixes the problem with energy regulation in the country.
By reducing the production of clean energy?
What? What? Okay. And maybe, see, this is where I'll ask you to correct me, which I'm sure you will. But I mean, maybe you can shine some light on what I'm getting wrong from the news outlets that I'm watching. But I was under the impression that energy in our country was on a good incline at the current moment.
What did the Big Beautiful Bill do to make gas more affordable?
Well, I know for...
Yeah, he's getting fucking, dude. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm in the bad place. I am just stuck debating terrible Trump supporters that just cannot concede. Unreal.
I mean, I did just say a second ago that I do think that it's important that both sides can be fundamentally, valid in having an opinion.
No, I think that some opinions are wrong. Why would wrong opinions be valid?
Well, I think that if you start invalidating people for forming their own opinions, it takes away all of what this country was built on, which was civil discourse. And by dismissing
wait. Didn't you come up here to invalidate my opinion that Donald Trump sexually exploited women and teens?
You can have your opinion, except your opinion
is wrong. Yeah,
no,
got it.
Not wrong.
Yes. So it's actually totally chill to invalidate people's opinions. It's totally fine to tell people that they're wrong. And in fact, I'd argue that this is something that you should do. This is something that we should all do. The reason why we need to do this is because when opinions are founded on the basis of misinformation, when opinions are founded on the basis of maybe logic that just simply doesn't follow, or when opinions are founded on the basis of ignorance and lack of access to other facts that could prove it wrong, you need to be able to tell people that those opinions are false. And I think that this is self-evident. Like if somebody came up to you and told you that they're a Nazi, that they hate N-words and that they're going to go kill 5 black people, would you say that it'd be wrong if you were to say, well, hey man, actually, that's not a good opinion to hold?
Yes, that would of course be wrong.
Oh wow! Look at you invalidating people's opinions. You were so anti-American.
No, because you just said
you have to let the white supremacists kill black people, or you're anti-American. You have to let the fascists drive trans people to suicide, or you're anti-American. You have to let the dictator Don call for the execution of Democrats because he didn't like what they said, or you're anti-American. Like, do you see how insane you sound? You have to support people that support policy that's inevitably going to kill tens of thousands of low-income Americans because it takes healthcare away from 10 million of them, or you're anti-American. Like, dude, you're just a small-brained idiot. This is so embarrassing for you.
You said the only exception to that is when you can invalidate somebody's opinion if it is fundamentally wrong in fact. Your opinion that conduct constituted sexual exploitation is fundamentally incorrect. So you should check your facts.
I've already demonstrated to you about 1 billion times how you don't even believe that my opinion.
You are going against your own logic.
I've already demonstrated how even you accept that my opinion was not fundamentally incorrect because you assume
it was
the same
on the
logic.
element of the crime.
You assume the same fucking logic. Okay? The elements of the crime legally do not matter to you when determining what is or is not sexual violence. Or else listen to this. What elements of what crime are leading you to the conclusion that enslaved individuals during the in the American South during antebellum era slavery were victims of grape? What elements of what crime?
Dude.
You're not going to be able to answer the question because there wasn't a single element of a single crime that existed at the time to conclude. But remember when you said even before new law, but even before these new elements of these new crimes were introduced, they were still victims of grape, right? They were still victims of grape before the new law was introduced. Yes or no?
Wait.
They were still victims of grape before the new law was introduced. Yes or no?
And these women
shut up and answer my question. Were they still victims of grape before the new law was introduced? Yes or no? Answer the fucking question.
Sorry, you muted my mic. They were still victims.
What elements of what crime made them victims of grape?
Dean, you're not listening to what I'm saying.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. You're as dense as a fucking rock.
No, you are not listening to what I'm saying.
You're not listening to what I'm saying, bro. Fucking whine. You got proven wrong. You try to argue in order to say that someone is a victim of sexual exploitation, it ought meet the elements of the crime that is defined as sexual exploitation. But you just argued that individuals that were enslaved, that were graped, were victims of grape even at the time, even though there's not a single element of a single crime in which classified them as victims of grape.
Yes, and what you're saying is classified in another law, meaning we don't have to make up elements.
What law existed during American slavery that classified victims of grape that were enslaved as victims of grape?
I've already agreed to that, but in our case that we're talking about in the present...
So you're special pleading. So then you're special pleading. Exactly.
Wait, what?
You're special pleading my logic. You're saying when I use my logic, it bad. When you use my logic, it good. That's literally your argument. Dean, I can say that previously enslaved people were victims of grape, even though there was not an element of a crime that defined them as a victim of grape. But Dean, you can't say that these women and girls were victims of sexual exploitation because I don't think that meet the necessary elements of the crime in order to be constituted as victims of sexual exploitation. That's the issue, you dense fuckhead. You fucking dweeb. You idiot. Are you finally starting to get it now?
Dude, what you're saying is 100 years ago when there wasn't precedent. Today, there is precedent for victims to follow, and the elements that you're saying happen fit under a different crime. That's all I'm saying. That if there was a crime, they should...
Exactly. 100 years ago, there wasn't precedent, yet you're still calling them victims of grape.
100 years ago, I agreed with you. I'm talking about in today's age, you can't use the same logic.
So my logic would track 100 years ago, but my logic doesn't track today.
Because there's precedent.
You're fucking idiot, dude. Fucking what an idiot. Oh God. I would hate to be that guy's partner. I'd hate to be that guy's wife. I'd hate to be that guy's mother. Oh my God. Dean, when your logic is used against me to make me look like a Nazi unless I agree to it, your logic is true. But Dean, when you use your logic to call Donald Trump a sexual exploiter, your logic is false. Fucking hell. Oh my God. What a hypocrite. What a hypocrite. Kayla, appreciate you so much for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat. Appreciate you so much for the love. Show some love to Caleb down below. Devin with the $20 and Toad with the $20. Devin with the $20 says, I'm exhausted of listening to the mental gymnastics that they use to justify themselves, and I respect what you do. Well, thank you so much for the love, Devin. Yeah, that guy got fucking ripped to shreds. Toad, appreciate you so much for the $20 as well. He says, it does fit sexual exploitation. He owned the pageant, so it was an abuse of power defined as coercion. Yeah, good fucking point, Toad. Thank you for the $20. Looks like we're all caught up over on Super Chat. Oh, and then Lola, thank you so much for the $20 over on Super Chat as well. Thank you. Then Dog Trainer with the $20 on Super Chat who says, Trump has had much right to barge into a dressing room as a store owner has to barge into a store dressing room. No difference. Why are these people being so obtuse? Holy cow, you're so obtuse. Yeah. Thank you for the $20 from all of you guys. Please show some love to all of our donors down below in that comment section. And give us Gawk, the chat says. I'll bring Gawk up. I could use a little bit of that right now. Okay, compared to the other Trump supporters. Does somebody want to send it to them? Get them in here? That'd be great. Be great. Be good. Real good. Yo, Patsy, appreciate you for the $30 over on Venmo. Thank you so much, Patsy. Patsy with the $30 says, thank you for kicking him. Oh, yeah, we got them the fuck out of here. Thank you for the $30, Patsy. Let's get 300 Patsy W's and 200 Linda W's, who sent $20 on Venmo saying painful quote-unquote debates like this almost make me wish I were MAGA so I could call in and give you what you deserve, a good debate. Yeah, the last guy was terrible. Thank you for the $20, Linda. Lily, thank you for the $5, who says, here's an extra $5 because this guest is making me feel like my brain is on fire. He was just annoying as fuck. Then Christiane, thank you so much for the $50 over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Christiane. Please show some love to Christiane down below in that comment section. I really appreciate you so much for your kindness. Let's get 500 Christiane W's down below in that comment section. Thank you so much. As well as Casey, thank you for the $2 over on Venmo. Opal with the $10, who says, this is for the chat. Y'all do realize that Trump was in WWE back in 2005 in a weird match against Mr. Mahone, and remember he was a billionaire back then. Why is he president, man? Love you, Dean. Thank you for everything that you do. Oh yeah, well, I mean, I'd honestly argue that him being in the WWE is like the last thing on my list of reasons why he shouldn't be president. But thank you for the love, Opal. I'd also like to thank Anna for the $20 over on Venmo 16 minutes ago. Thank you for the love, Anna. Show some love to Anna down below in that chat, everybody. Thank you so much for the love. Mora, thank you for the $10, who says, quote unquote, inherently, this guy was critiquing you more for naming a crime than the person committing the crime. He's so performative. Well, he's also a dumbass. So yeah, thank you for the $10. I appreciate that, Mora. James and Brittany, thank you guys for the 5. Stacy, appreciate you so much for the $20 over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Stacy. Let's get 200 Stacy W's. And let's also get 750 John W's. Holy shit. John, brother, thank you for the $75 on Venmo saying Trump no more, remove him. Brother John, I agree with you. We need to get them the hell out of there. Impeachment and indictment now. Thank you for the $75, my friend. That is absolutely nuts. Gals, Brooke, and Emma, thank you guys for the $5. Daniel with the $5. And Lily, thank you for the $30, who says, tomorrow's my 19th birthday. I've been watching you for over a year now. As somebody who has a MAGA family, you don't know how much your content has helped me. Oh, Lily, that came in 49 minutes ago. I really hope that you're still here so you can hear me tell you that I love ya and thank you for the $30 and happy early birthday. Live it up and have a great time tonight, as I bet you are celebrating. Okay. All right. Looks like we're all caught up over on Venmo. And then Logan with the $2 over on PayPal. Lori, thank you for the $5, who says, how would they feel if a man gym teacher walked in on their daughter's changing? Yeah, man, how the fuck would he feel? If it was Trump, he probably wouldn't care. Robert, thank you so much for the $25 over on PayPal. Thank you for the love, Robert. Robert for the $25 says, 71-year-old Robert here. I just paid $10 for a dozen eggs. I'm paying $1.20 more for gas at the end than I was at the end of Biden's term. These MAGA fucks can kiss my ass. Keep on cooking, buddy. From 71-year-old Robert. Dude, I love Robert. I legitimately, I love you. Thank you for being here, as always. And then Kathy, thank you for the $50 over on PayPal, saying, I'm on a roll. This guest is awful. Kathy, we got him out of here because he was absolutely awful. And yes, you are on a roll. Thank you for another $50. God, I love you, Kathy. Thank you so much. Seriously. And then Susan, thank you so much for the for the $10 on PayPal. Thank you for the love, Susan. Patrick with the $5. Marcia with the $25, who says that you're amazing. Keep on doing God's work. Thank you so much, Marcia. That is Marcya. Thank you so much for the love. And then Amanda, thank you for the $10. Elena with a 5. Othi with a 5. Joshua with a 5 and Anna with a 5. Then over on Venmo, Margaret with a $25, who says, sorry, they have to deal with all these jerks, but thank you so much. I love what I do. At the end of the day, I do. Thank you for the $25, Margaret. And then Lily, thank you for the $5, who says, thank you. I'm here every day. Yes, you are, Lily. We are all caught up at this point in time. I'm sorry that took me a while. We just, had to really reach back there. A lot of people to go over. Okay, we're gonna try to get. You guys want the Gawk? We still have a little time, actually. So I could try to do that. We could try to get Gawk up in here. This is not the Gawk. So this guy Liam, he kind of reminds me of Brock, and he kind of reminds me of the Gawk. So you're like Gawk from Temu, because you're also just like really stupid and confident. Hey.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm stupid.
Well, yeah, I know that we've had debates before. You're definitely not the smartest Trump supporter I talked to.
Well, yeah, then why did I win all of them? Weird.
Yeah, exactly. Stupid and confident, just like Gawk. Gawk from Timu.
I'm not confident. I'm just the smartest.
Okay. So while we're waiting for the real Gawk, just sent a message over to Brock.
You mean the fake William? Go on.
Why do you support Trump?
Why do I support Trump? First of all, I'm a Christian, so God chose him to be the president, so I chose that. Second of all,
did God choose Hitler to lead Germany?
No, that was the devil.
So how do you distinguish between when God chooses people and the devil chooses people?
For example, Obama was the president because of the devil. Does that make sense?
And how do you know that?
Did you see all the bad things that Obama did when he was the president?
Oh, so if the president does bad things, then the devil picked them. So when Donald Trump refused to abide by court order and feeding.
So, do you remember when Obama?
Okay.
First of all, he wore a helmet. That's lame. Then
he wore a helmet. What do you mean?
Do you remember when he was riding a bike and he wore a helmet?
Okay. So Obama rode a bike.
But that's just
safely.
like a loser. Like, first of all, when I was at school, obviously I was like, I was cool, and when I would ride bikes, I never wore a helmet. Even when I hit my head, it didn't matter. Because I'm a Christian.
What? What, brother? What the fuck are you saying?
What are you talking? Okay, so I'm guessing you wore a helmet then. Yeah, you wore a helmet, dude. You wore a helmet.
I wore a helmet. I did, Liam.
Oh, it looks like you're still wearing it. Because your hair? Your hair looks like a helmet.
And your brain looks like fucking mashed potatoes.
No, it doesn't. You can't see my brain. I can see your hair. So that's a no point. Your point is no.
Get off. Get off the live. Dude. Yeah, there's Gawk from Timu. Fucking hell. I reached out to Brock. I don't know. I don't know if they'll be able to join. Guys, I'm whooped. I'm done for the day. I think I'm done. I'm done for the day. That's about how I'm feeling right now. Listen, before I get off, I actually want to give a really good TV show recommendation to you guys. If you have Apple TV, y'all should go watch Dark Matter. Me and my girlfriend binged it in 2 nights because of how fucking fire it is. It is such like an unknown show, but it is like unbelievably good. Okay? So if you watch TV, you have Apple TV Plus, go watch Dark Matter. 10 out of 10. Okay? Absolute fire. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hop off. I will see you all tomorrow. I'm